Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the round table. So we will be joined by, I believe, Andre, maybe Tom as well, this evening. And what we're going to be talking about today is basically what happens post Snyder Cut. And coincidentally, this actually ties in with a Variety article. So, like, we could say that a lot of this is speculation and things like that, but a lot of this is now confirmed, I guess you could say. And I thought we could discuss it, take a look at it, also get your general thoughts and feedback and things like that. If you're new here, I do these live streams every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at this time. This time for me is 9 p.m. GMT. I'm aware that those guys in the States, they had an hour time zone change. So currently we're a little bit off. And remember, the UK will then change soon. So it will go back to 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time soon, basically. Just to let you all know. But I hope you're all right. So first things first, where are you all from? What are you doing here? Where'd you come from? Let me know. We will, like I said, we will actually drop in with this Variety article ASAP. And yeah, as Vasi, a member of the channel, points out, that article is a load of oof. Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting. It is. Oof. Oof is a great description there, to be perfectly honest. Oof. We'll have to see how it goes. I think if you haven't seen this article, I think everyone's reaction will be as per Vasi. We've got our first super chat. Dark Shadow 308 for $5. Also, ladies and gents, if you want to read out your super chat, so I do things a little bit different. I know we have people drop in from Midnight Sage. I do things a little bit different with super chats. I tend to read them out a little bit quicker. I don't build them up and save them. I tend to read them out quite quickly. So if you want a point read out and you want to join the discussion and you want to support the channel, please do with a super chat. It's a really good way to do that. So Dark Shadow 308, sorry, dropped in with a super chat here and says, hello, Mr. H. Loved your stream with Uche. You destroyed his arguments, but still left him with his dignity. Class. Well, thank you so much. For those that don't know, I was, for those that don't know, just a very broad overview, and I know a lot of people will probably want to discuss it, so it is good just to address it from the top. On last week, I did a video discussing, obviously, Zack Snyder and the charity stream and what went on with that. And I basically, I made some comments which were predicated on certain points that I believed had occurred based on how streams normally run. And I got called out for those comments. Perfectly reasonable. The comments weren't particularly pleasant, although the context of the entire stream was pretty well. The context of the entire video was a little bit better, but people clipped the harshest part and obviously shared it on Twitter. So I was called out for that, and Uche wanted me to go on his stream, to which I obliged. But this was on Friday after I had just streamed for about 3 hours. So I got in bed. I then looked at my Twitter and I was being called out. So I then said, yeah, happy to oblige, because I feel it's important. If someone wants to discuss something with you, I mean, you should discuss it with them. I think that's fair. So I obliged, and then I went on Uche's stream and discussed basically why I said what I said. So that's what that is. If anyone is interested, it is on Uche's channel now. And I will say this, props to Uche for actually uploading it. He didn't have to. I'm aware it disappeared for a little bit, but it's because he continued the stream afterwards. So he clipped the 2 hours that I was there for. And yeah, there you go. That's that really. But yeah, cool. I'm glad you enjoyed it anyway. I know a lot of people enjoyed it. And I tweeted it out today and I said, guys, please don't make an instant judgment call in the first 5 minutes of the stream, because it's a shouting match for the first few minutes, I believe. I was being insulted left, right, and center. No points were being made, but it quells down and it dies down into a reasoned debate, I guess you could say. So if anyone does want to watch that and wants to see me actually debate someone, because I don't think anyone has ever actually seen that before, you can head on over to Uche's channel and someone's unplugging from my computer, and you can see it there. So just to let you all know, that's there. Anyway, we've got Ed Starr has become a member. Thank you so much for supporting the channel, Ed. Really do appreciate that, dude. Thank you so much. I did. My God, what is this? Something's going on my computer. Something's plugging in and out of it. Jacob Hill, love you, man, and happy they let Snyder to complete his vision. Well, firstly, thank you so much, Jacob Hill, for that $5. Really do appreciate that. And yeah, I think a lot of people will be. I think that's the I think that's the point that a lot of people will have. You know, happy they complete the vision and then sort of move on from there. There'll be a lot of people that will be really, really annoyed with the article, which we will go into. FYI, again, those joining, because we are getting a lot of people joining in now. I'm just waiting for people to join. Our members, members of this roundtable will be Andre. I believe Tom may be joining in as well, and then we're going to be discussing what comes now for Snyder. So yeah, just to let you all know, those that are just dropping in here, because there has been a pretty big bomb dropped on Snyder and things with respect to his vision and how that's going to go here. Roger Haynes for a super sticker, thank you so much. Really do appreciate that, dude. I can't actually see the super sticker on this back end StreamYard thing. Bit of a pain in the ass, really, but thank you so much either way. I hope it's a good super sticker. Ed Starr, long-time listener, new supporter, glad to join the crew. Well, thank you so much. I appreciate anyone that chooses to support the channel that step further. I've really got to say it genuinely. Thank you so much, because it goes a really long way. You know, just for complete transparency's sake, you know, I do these streams because I really enjoy them. You guys have really enjoyed them. They've been building an audience, but they really do help keep the lights on here. You guys contributing via super chats and things like that. This is just being completely transparent. It really does mean a lot to me. YouTube does quell channels down that sort of go a little bit against the norm. So thank you so much. Genuinely, you are supporting the channel. So thank you. Let me just scroll down here. KitKat, Christ, we've got £50 from KitKat. What the hell is going on here? Wow. Amazing. Thank you so much. We've got a happy birthday to William Shatner. March 22nd, 1931, 90 years old. I genuinely couldn't believe he was 90 when I saw that today. Like, I was genuinely really, really surprised. Because he doesn't act like it, doesn't look it, does he? Like, genuinely really surprised. Still raising and riding horses, still witty and charming. He's epic on Twitter. You think that he's 90 and he's all over Twitter. Like, that's killer. That's just madness. Still very much loved. Yeah, he is. And will celebrate his 100th birthday. Well, let's hope so. Like I say, the fact that he's 90, I had no idea. It's just not something that you don't think it, do you, when you see him you know, around doing what he does. So quite crazy. But thank you so much there. Wow. Massive support there. Thank you. Marshmallow for £10 says, I loved the Uchi debate. Thank you. Yeah, again, for those that don't know, if you want to see a 2-hour debate, don't judge it on the first 5 minutes, because it is just a slanging match. I get insulted left, right, and center. Head on over to Uche's channel, bear with it, and you will see a pretty civil debate, I think. I think so. Now, I don't know. Hey, Mr. H, got recommended a video by Uche and randomly clicked on it. Never watched his stuff before. Oh my God, was it heated? Is all I can say. Is clap. Well, thank you so much. Yeah, I mean, yeah, it was heated for sure, and I get that, because I called people nodding a bunch of spineless fucks. So yeah, like, of course, it was going to be heated, and you know, there was a lot of people that were watching that stream that really didn't like me. I was on his turf. I didn't tweet it out. I just left it as is. But props. Like, I mean, I enjoyed it for what it was. It's, yeah. I don't know. I commend the dude for putting it up on his channel. I said to him privately, I said, look, I understand if you don't want to put it on your channel for many, many reasons. I understand it if you do as well. So it's completely up to you. Do whatever you want with it. Obviously, he could do whatever he wants with it anyway. But I just sort of clarified my stance that I'm happy with him doing whatever he wanted with it. And yeah, he put it up. So it's there if you want to watch it, ladies and gents. What is this? We've got Doom, Dragon, Goblin Slayer, Trinity. That is an epic name. I think AT&T steps in again for more content for HBO Max with more Snyder stuff. Yeah, well, so ladies and gents that are coming in here now and are kind of joining the stream, we will be going over an article. I am just waiting for people to drop in. So yeah, we'll see how it goes. But we'll kind of talk through this article. And we'll discuss whether that's a viability, because they've sort of set a precedent now that could happen. So let's see how it goes. Now release the air cut of Suicide Squad. Hail to the table. Thanks so much, Marty D. Thank you for joining as always. And yeah, I don't think that's likely, to be fair. But well, hey, like, who knows? I mean, who knows? Jedi 6 to go towards keeping the lights on and Jasper's treat jar full. Well, thank you so much. For those that don't know, Jasper is the resident mascot of the channel. Currently, he is off-world because he wants to be off this clown world. So yes, this is Jasper, the resident mascot. Tales from Junkyard. Mr. H, I saw your making of Bjorn and Frida. It was good to see behind the scenes. Super excited for Blackfield's proper, and of course, Hail to the Table. Thank you so much. I'm just going to make sure I have actually sent the invites through to Andre here, because I don't know whether I did. I'm pretty certain I did. Pretty certain I did. Let me just double check. I'll send it again. I think I did, but I'll send it again just to be certain. He sent me a WhatsApp telling me he is winding down his stream, but I know those things overrun. Right, anyway, so thank you so much, Tales from Junkyard. Appreciate that, and I'm glad you enjoyed the making of Bjorn and Frida. Right, okay, so let's drop down now. I have caught up with all of the super chats here. Dark Shadow Logan, you are just blunt, Mr. H. I am pretty blunt. I am pretty blunt. I don't really like to sugarcoat stuff. I like to get straight to the point. I don't see the point, to be fair. With sugarcoating things, I think there's a limit to what you can sugarcoat, and I think ultimately some stuff has to be pretty blunt to make the point, to hit home. Look, it's not always liked and things like that. I get that, but you know, blunt stuff isn't nice to hear, and sometimes, I don't know, sometimes whether you have to hear or not is subjective, really. But yeah, I mean, I am blunt, and I make no major apologies for that. Mr. H, you did send it because you reminded Tom about this. Also, money for Jasper, the goodest boy. Thank you so much, Diego. Yeah, well, again, I think that they are just winding down. Hang fire for 2 seconds, though, ladies and gents. Right, hold on 1 second. Melvin, I respect Mr. H for being blunt. We remember the channel, so no doubt you must enjoy what I do here. But thank you so much. Again, ladies and gents, I know we are getting a lot of people drop in. I want to... Let me just pull up this article now so you guys can see what we're actually going to be discussing today, because I think that would be important. Oh my God, what is going on with... Go away. Right. Let me just pull up the article here. Nope. Hold on 1 second. There we go. That's a bit better. So we'll pull up the article just so you guys can actually get a good look at what we are going to be talking through. But it's a pretty bombshell article, to be honest. It's from Warner Media's Ann Sarnoff, discussing Zack Snyder's Justice League and the future of DC, really. So, like I say, like relatively bombshell, I would say, relatively bombshell article. This is going to look trash, FYI, ladies and gents, because there are some horrendous adverts here. But we'll just scroll away from it. It's absolutely fine. But this is variety for you, and they're a massive love for autoplay adverts, which is always a dick. Isaac the Dragonborn, good afternoon from the Psycho City of San Fran. Is it Psycho City of San Fran? Why is it Psycho City? But thank you so much for joining me, Isaac. Really do appreciate that, dude. And yeah, good afternoon. What's the time where you are now? What is the time? Are your opinions about the Snyder Cut somehow altered through the debate with Uche? No, we weren't debating the Snyder Cut at all. So no, we were debating the actions of the charity stream and how people sort of, handled themselves. No, my opinion on the Snyder Cut hasn't changed at all, and it won't really. I doubt it. I can't see it changing. So yeah. What's this? Alexander the Great. Wow, I just tried watching the video between you and Uche. Well, in fact, I'm not going to sit here and call him out, right? Like we've had our discussion. We have had the discussion between us. It's for you guys to sort of have your own sort of conclusions on it all. Let me have a look. Yeah, my microphone is a little bit odd today because it's playing through the wrong thing. Now, this should be much better. There we go. Is that better, ladies and gents? You are right. Tom P, you are right. My microphone was playing through a completely different thing here. Don't know why that happened there. This microphone should be much, much nicer now. Paddy's Pub. Wonder Woman had some great scenes, but the slow motion hair in the wind while inside a building without a speck of dirt on her causes me to disengage. Yeah, all right, yeah. She's very preened, isn't she? Not that I hate that, to be fair, but yeah. Again, let me just scroll back down. Okay, cool. So I've caught up with all the super chats, ladies and gents. So, like I said, if you want to join in to the discussion and the debate here, and you want me to read out and get you as part of this discussion, do a super chat. It helps support the channel and gets you read out straight away, basically. But let's take a look at this, right? So this is an article, Warner Media's Sarnoff on Zack Snyder's Justice League and DC films. Now, again, I've got to say, guys, don't let's have a look. Let's have a conversation about this. I think this will be a bit of an eye opener, at the very least, how Warner Brothers, Warner Media, but how they have viewed things. I think that's the best sort of overview on it all. Smoke Monster became a YouTube member. Well, thank you so much. Appreciate that. Appreciate you supporting the channel. Nice to have you here as well. Thank you so much. Really do appreciate that. Right, so let's dive into it, right? Warner Media Studios CEO Ann Sarnoff says that the release of Zack Snyder's Justice League will complete the director's superhero trilogy. Now, that's a ballsy opening statement, isn't it? Let's be honest. Reinforcing the studio's desire to move past the social media campaign to hand back control of the DC film universe to the filmmaker. But I also think behind this, ladies and gents, now, again, I've been very open and honest. I don't like the Snyder Cut, but I'm still going to talk very unbiased here, is that this whole point here is not about just handing it back to the DC filmmaker, but it's also handing it back, handing the DC universe back to the fans, right? Because that's the only reason this happened. So that's what's really important to note here, is that it looks like the studio is like, hey, look, we've done it. Shut up, basically. That's how it looks like to me, anyway. Kyle Dawson, where was that stream where Mr. H wrecked Uche? I actually tweeted it out. You can just go to my Twitter at Mr. H Reviews, or just Uche's channel. I don't want to butcher his last name. I will butcher it if I try and say it. So It's Uche's channel. But it's easier if you just head to my Twitter because I tweeted it out directly. But it's up to you, man. Just go watch it. Right, we've got here Connor Williams. I really hope Zack Snyder gets to complete his whole arc, as it would be cool to see the nightmare plot play out. Love your content as always, Mr. H. Yeah, so Connor, my dude, that is looking unlikely based on this, unfortunately. And it is unfortunately, like, regardless of whether I like or dislike the Snyder Cut, I opened my review by saying, look, guys, I think the people that wanted it will be the ones that will be happy with this, and for them, I am really, really pleased. And obviously, for this, yeah, that's not going to be good. And I don't want anyone to be displeased by these things. That's not good at all. We've got finally someone joining here. Bloody hell, he's here finally. Yeah, Andre, he's back. How you doing?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you. Our streams go longer and longer, like more than 4 hours today. So yeah.
Jesus, my back would be in absolute pieces, good sir. But mad respect to you. How are you before we get into this epic article?
I'm good, thank you.
Is that it? Not been doing anything else? You're just good?
Yeah, okay. I've been working my ass off, and I haven't done anything else this whole last week, and I'm going to continue to do that. But other than that, I'm fine.
See, this is what I want to hear. We want to get down and real with Andre. You see, this is. Yeah. Dear.
Like it's been a lot to do behind the scenes of Midnight's Edge the last few days, and it's gonna be really intense next few days to deliver the last few videos of the month. So that's gonna be nice. pretty awesome. Very nice. And Afrim in the chat seems to think I'm Swedish. Actually, I'm Norwegian, but yeah.
he did not help build IKEA.
No, I did not. So again, he could be trolling. Maybe he just knows that, like, it really gets under Norwegian skin every time they're confused with being Swedish.
Yeah, potentially. Yeah. So real quick, got some super chats to go through. Just real quick. So Comrade Commissar Yuri says, "What exactly did Ruby Rose do on Batwoman?" Yes. So just to quickly interject before we dive into this article, have you heard about this Batwoman scenario?
Yes, we have.
I mean, what a slap in the face! Like, they spent they couldn't be further. They couldn't be furthering themselves any more distance from Ruby Rose if they tried right now. They spend the whole season, this whole season 2, talking about where's Kate Kane, and she's like, yeah, no, I'll definitely come back, Ruby Rose. Yeah, if they want me to, 100%. Boom, next episode. Now we're gonna recast the character and change her face.
Yeah, you know why? I think that she put out that, I'll come back if they want me. I think she put that out because I think that she was banking on they're going to pay me extra to come back for a cameo later on. And then she got word from her agent, they're actually going to recast you. And then that's the moment when her team put out there that, she's open to come back. And then they instantly slapped her down, making it very clear that we moved on from you and we meant it.
And I think what's so funny about that, right, is that they didn't even want to wait for the episode to play out next week. They just revealed it in a Hollywood Reporter article. Fantastic. So good. Absolutely brilliant. Because it's not revealed in this week's episode. We just see the face all bandaged. They could have waited for the big reveal to see if she was going to come back, but they were like, "No, we literally don't care. Just recast, complete recast. To hell with it." So funny. Model T101 says Warner Brother execs need replaced. Well, again, we're going to dive into that now. Got a few more super chats just to go through real quick. Again, ladies and gents, thank you so much for contributing today. And thank you so much for jumping in here, supporting the channel with your super chats. I've got to say it really does go a long way to help out. And if you're jumping over from Andre's channel, Midnight's Edge, they have their fantastic way of doing their streams. Here we do things a little bit differently. If you want to join in the conversation as quickly as you possibly can, because I will watch the super chats come in, you can join the conversation that we have and have your points sort of raised out with a super chat. That's not a dig on you, Andre, FYI.
By the way.
Jacob Hill says, someone like an Andy Signor hated that the Snyder Cut happened because he saw the push. The for the cut as toxic. What did you think of the push for it? I was pretty ambiguous about the push for it, to be honest. I was like, yeah, fine. Like, I didn't see the push as toxic. And I never saw the toxicity of the push. What I have seen now has been toxicity from the Snyder Bros jumping on like Godzilla versus Kong and stuff like that, and other movies. That's not cool. That's a dick move. Especially when Legendary were the ones that made Godzilla vs. Kong. It's got nothing to do with Warner Brothers. Warner Brothers didn't make it. So you're not actually hurting Warner Brothers by doing that.
Here's the thing that also should be brought up. If you cancel AT&T or HBO Max, you are not hurting Warner Brothers. On the contrary, they're cheering. They want you to cancel HBO Max. You know why? Because Warner doesn't like the Snyder Cut. They hate the Snyder Cut. They hate Snyder. And they hate the mother company AT&T, who was someone that acquired them. They didn't ask to be bought. They were bought. The people working in Warner Media, they would love it for HBO Max to be a failure. They'd be super happy with it. They'd love for AT&T to go down in flames and have someone else pick up Warner Media instead. So if you want to punish Warner by unsubscribing to HBO Max, just be aware that you are playing right into their hands. That's what they want you to do. If you want to stick it to Warner, I'm not telling you what to do. That's up to you. But you should be aware that if you want to stick it to Warner, what you should do is subscribe to HBO Max. Watch the Snyder Cut 10 times on repeat. Then you are sticking it to Warner, because that's what they don't want. They want the Snyder Cut to fail, and they want HBO Max to fail. So subscribe to it and
I can see the logic in that.
That's the only way that you actually stick it to them.
Yeah, I can see the logic in that based on this article, which we'll go through into a second. But you've got a direct question from Super Chat here. Andre, can you tease a little regarding the videos on Midnight's Edge?
Well, you mean how far into the future? We're obviously going to make some news about or make a video about what's happening behind the scenes of Star Trek Strange New Worlds. That will be coming inside a week. We'll have some more about what's going on behind the scenes of the Snyderverse. And let's see what else is in the planning. Well, maybe doing something on the Joker. And other than that, it's like huge retrospectives. There's like going to do like a huge retrospective of the King Conan movies that never happened. The struggle to make a third Conan movie starring Schwarzenegger after Conan the Destroyer. Why there were so many attempts and why none of them ever happened.
Well, that'd be interesting. Tom, you're here. How are you?
Oh, I'm doing the best I can. How you guys doing?
Are you borderline dying right now because you're tired?
I'm getting there. I'm also just so sick of the Justice League.
Well, look, we need to talk about it. I've not done a proper stream discussing it yet, and we've not spoken about it directly. I know, Andre, you've not managed to see it yet.
I've seen the first hour of it, but I haven't had time to see any more than that.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, but also this article dropped, and I thought like, we'll sort of dive into our thoughts on the Snyder Cut on the peripheral around this article and kind of talk about it from there. I thought this would be a more interesting way of sort of conducting the stream here. Anyway, Daniel John 19 says, based off that, I'll keep HBO and I'm getting rid of Disney Plus. AZ America says, hi, Arizona, love the channel. Thank you so much, Daniel John. Really do appreciate that, man. Jacob Hall says, Mr. H and Andre, you guys have the best voices. Well, thank you so much. Just let you all in on a little secret. Me and Andre, we're going to start an ASMR channel. 100% that's true facts. It's not.
Well,
you didn't know what to say that, Andre, did you? You're stumped with us, speechless.
No, seriously though, for for Patreon, I was actually thinking of doing something like that for our Patreons. We have like this massive Norwegian poem by Ibsen that's called Terje Vigen. I was actually thinking of
Terry the
reading
Vegan.
that. Yeah, Terje Vigen. I was actually thinking of reading that entire poem in Norwegian for Patreon.
That could be interesting.
That'd be Andre's ASMR or whatever the hell it's called.
There you go. You've heard it here live. Andre doesn't want to do an ASMR channel with me, guys. Disgraceful.
I'll do one for our Patreons, though.
Oh, well, we could do a joint one, mate. There you go. I'll drop in. Why not? Marshmallow says, any chance members can meet up on Ellie's channel at some point? And that's the Pirates. Again, members of the channel, you guys will have to interact with Marshmallow for this one. We have chat pirates here. We've got the that's a new thing on my streams, the chat pirate. Lewis Tully, she also confirmed no Aya cut. Yeah, so again, we are going to dive into that in a second. 100%. Thank you so much for the $2.99. Need Switch, thanks. Interesting, curious about Beyond. And one last super chat before we dive into this article a little bit more. It says we could see another Star Wars potentially where fans begin to boycott like they did with Solo. Warner is playing a dangerous game. Hail all and Midnight's Edge. Boys, you know what though? I don't think that they are so much here, because I don't think the fandom is large enough comparably to Star Wars for it to hit the sort of bottom line as much. I mean, guys, would you disagree? I just don't think it's the same level as Star Wars. But thoughts?
Can you repeat the question?
Well, basically, so what Ellie saying here is that Warner Media is playing a dangerous game. And essentially what could happen is a situation like with Star Wars where the fandom just doesn't want to watch any DC movies anymore because Snyder are not involved, right? Snyder's not involved anymore. So as a result of that, it would directly impact Warner Brothers' bottom line and make them want to come back to Snyder. But I disagree because I don't think the fans of DC versus Snyder are large enough to have that sort of separation between the two to affect the bottom dollar. But I could be wrong. I just don't think it's the same as, say, Star Wars, for instance.
Actually, I think we very easily could get a Star Wars situation going with different factions. And in fact, we kind of have that already, because you have the AT&T people. And remember, it was AT&T that finished up the Snyder Cut and that ordered it to be done. And Warner, their DC operation, they are the ones that brought you the wonders that was Birds of Prey and Wonder Woman 1984. Those people, they were completely and utterly against the Snyder Cut to begin with, and they were the ones that just today came out and labeled all fans as toxic for wanting the Snyder Cut in the first place, and for being nasty to the executives at Warner that didn't want to produce it, and who also said that we're not making any Ayer cut, not based on any kind of numbers or anything like that, just like stating it out there, like purely emotional. Right there shows that you have the exact same kind of Lucasfilm separation that for some weird reason that I don't fully fathom, AT&T has allowed to persist. And for as long as they allow that to persist, you're going to have that kind of divide. And I think that's a divide that's going to be bigger and bigger as time goes by.
Okay, so but I don't think that the fans of Snyder will directly impact DC's bottom line with films. I don't think that's going to happen.
No, not at all.
That is what I think Ellie was saying.
Not the bottom line.
So let's get into this article, right? Because I've already read out. Let's just do, from the top. Warner Media CEO Ann Sarnoff says that the release of Zack Snyder's Justice League will complete the director's superhero trilogy, reinforcing the studio's desire to move past the social media campaign to hand back control of the DC film universe to the filmmaker. Now, I said from the off, before you guys jumped in here, was that this is very down the line. It's straight to the point. No more Snyder. But also that last bit here is very much a case of also not just handing it back to the filmmaker, but it's also pulling the DC film universe out of the grip of the Snyder fans, basically, because they have gained some level of control here by their campaign, and then AT&T obviously listening to that. That's a fair summation, would you say?
Tom, what would you say?
Do I think AT&T is listening to the fans? I think so. Yeah, obviously, when you got the Snyder cut.
You guys are so tired today. Either I am speaking like gibberish, or you guys are very, very tired.
I'm fucking tired.
Yeah, actually, I do think that AT&T are listening to the fans, because they are a telecommunications company, as Tom said. So they will actually focus on customer service, because here's what you have to remember. Warner Media is now owned by AT&T. They come from customer service and telecommunications, where the customer is everything. You have to please the customer or you're out of business, as simple as that. Warner Media comes from the world of Hollywood, where the customer is an asshole and a toxic man baby who is always wrong. Those are two very different attitudes, and that only is going to like further fire up the conflict between them.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with that. And then obviously instead, Sarnoff believes that the future of DC is more than just movies. She's excited about a multi-platform future, one that sees Batman, Superman, The Flash, and other Justice League members popping up on streaming shows, video games, television spin-offs, and big screen outings. That to me seems like a reference to the bad robot J.J. Abrams situation and his whole deal there. I don't know what you think about that, but that's, to me, that is, that's just referencing that, really.
Yeah. Well, and Sarnoff here, I what's weird about this article is it's a lot like the articles we get after Star Trek is about to release a season or just released a season, and they're like, oh, season 4 and 5 announced, or Star Trek 4 coming to theaters right before Star Trek 3 comes out. Only it's the opposite. It's almost like it's to kill the momentum of said Justice League film. So that's
which is deliberate.
Which
I mean, it's very quick, isn't it? I mean, has it been a week? Is it?
Well,
it's been a week, and they're
no, it's not been a week. It's been less than half a week.
Oh wow, it's
been a weekend. But
that's very interesting time.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Warner Media wants the Snyder Cut to fail. They want you to unsubscribe from HBO Max. They love the conflict. They love all this because they want it to fail so that they can keep on doing what they've been doing, giving us more Birds of Prey and more Wonder Woman 1984. That's what they are, what they're all about.
That's what she means about the saying, if this is the same one that talks about, this is a thread where she talks about the fans that they really want and stuff like that, and avoiding the toxic fans. That's the same kind of mantra they got over at Star Wars or Lucasfilm, what have you, is they keep telling everybody, is like, look, you don't want all these fans we're losing because of Gina Carano. You want all these fans that we're going to get here now because Star Wars is safe without her.
Yeah, well, the activist level. So again, we'll get into the meat of this now. Obviously says it's a vision that echoes what Marvel has been doing with its Avengers characters, taking superheroes like the Vision, Scarlet Witch, Hawkeye, and Loki, who've previously appeared only in movies, and giving them streaming shows of their own. The Warner Media Studios chief is also excited about the diverse range of creators she's been enlisting to tell some of these stories, which includes tapping Between the World and Me author Ta-Nehisi Coates, an out-and-out, well, pretty bad dude, to be fair, who'll be writing the next Superman film and developing Blue Beetle, which is obviously the first Latinx superhero movie. But Sarnoff may have to deal with an unruly and emboldened fan base, one that successfully pushed Warner Media to release a 4-hour R-rated version of Justice League. It's like they're trying to say they're strong-armed. I mean, that's not. Yeah. They weren't strong-armed.
And it's a complete business move. Total lie on top of it, because that's not what happened. What happened was that AT&T recognized there's demand here. And they were them that pushed it. Warner Media were very happy to keep the Snyder Cut buried. They've been having that pressure the whole time, and they never gave into it. They didn't cave now either. It was AT&T that did that. So that's a complete and total bold-faced lie that they're saying there.
Yeah. Let me give you another version of what AT&T could have looked at this as. They had a $300 million movie that they didn't pay for, that all they had to throw in was $70 million, and they had themselves a $400 million movie, basically, they could throw on HBO Max. Is really what they had.
Yeah.
I mean, they had to do a little bit of work to it, but hey, they weren't there when the mess was happening. They didn't lose any money on it. I mean, they technically are paying for the debt that Warner Brothers is in, partially because of shit like this. But at the end of the day, I mean, it's no different than looking at it like, you buy like, a bunch of stuff and it's like, oh, it didn't cost you nothing. You just fix it up and you sell it and make a nice profit on it.
Just quickly there, the film Robot for $4.99 says, as much as I wanted Snyder to get his movie out, the movie is extremely overrated. People just want to stick it to Warner Brothers. Yeah, but I also don't think that that's necessarily a bad thing. People wanting to stick it to a studio. I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. Maybe, maybe it could also. It's dependent, isn't it? How things proceed from here. I mean, you guys know my personal opinion on the Snyder Cut. I'm not going to sit here and just bash it. That's not the point of this video. If you want my thoughts on it, it's in a review. But I'm not going to sit here and just bash it. But I will welcome anyone else's opinion on the film as per super chats, and you're more than welcome to that opinion, Film Robot. And yeah, I mean, I guess people just wanting to kind of stick it to Warner Brothers, can be a fair look over how people are kind of acting now. But I also think that sometimes the studios have. It goes down to the Joker, doesn't it? You get what you fucking deserve. The studios have been buttholes to fans for a long, long time, and people wanting to stick it to them. It's not necessarily a bad thing, to be honest. Rob Altis for $5, keeping the lights on. Thank you so much. There's Warner Brothers Disney. You don't pick your fans, the fans pick you.
But they're at this point where they think they do, though.
Yeah, well, yeah, bafflingly so as well. I've never understood that kind of outlook. It's so strange. It's a weird outlook to have. Like, oh, well, we can choose our fans. We can tailor the content to the type of fans we want, aka activists, not actual fans. Isn't that a weird outlook to have? Never understood it. Never understood it. Neat Switch says, I don't like the idea of restoring the Snyderverse anymore. Hell, the dialogue in Wonder Woman was better than Justice League. Way better. I don't want a continuation with that quality of dialogue. Well, see, a lot of people are equating, the Snyder Cut to just Snyder. Remember, it actually had a writer. It was actually written by someone. So it's a bit joint. I think some of those things definitely. Some of the dialogue would have been ad-libbed. We know that Jared Leto absolutely loves a good ad-lib. He loves just jumping in there and fucking being a prick. So yeah, I mean, I my personal opinion, I didn't like the dialogue. You guys know that if you've watched my review of it. But yeah, interesting thoughts there. And real quick, got one more. So Luke Fremlin. I thought it said Fremen then. I was like, the spice.
It's like Gremlin and Fremen mixed together, yeah.
Yeah, true. And that, FYI, I'm not. That's not a slate on your name, dude. Could you see Ben Affleck's Batman and Deathstroke in a Batman series on HBO Max, helmed by Snyder? Affleck. I can only hope your thoughts. Also, much respect here from Maidstone, dude. I was in Maidstone the other day looking at a Nissan 200SX, an S14. About 2 weeks ago, I believe. Pretty long drive from about 2.5 hours from me. It was a relatively long drive. Any pointless piece of information for you. I can't see that happening. I think it would be too expensive for HBO Max. And HBO Max currently is not, they're not raking in the money, are they? But guys, do you have any other opinions on that? Could you see a Ben Affleck Batman and Deathstroke series for HBO Max or what?
HBO Max wants it to happen, and they're willing to pay for it. The question is if they can get Ben Affleck to commit to a whole series. There have been talks to that end. For those talks to resume, for it to actually happen, the Snyder Cut has to be a hit. If it is, if Warner, or sorry, not Warner, Warner has nothing to do with it. If AT&T decides that this is a direction that they want to continue, they will do so without the involvement of Warner Media. The first thing that they will want to do is to do either a Batman movie or a Batman series, and it's absolutely not outside of the realm of possibility if the Snyder Cut is a hit. And this isn't my opinion. This is actually coming from known inside scooper Mikey Sutton.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Jacob Hill dropped in and says, to me, the Snyder Cut didn't matter if it was good or bad. It was about listening to fans for once in forever. Yeah, I think, I mean, again, there'll be a lot of people that will share that opinion, to be honest.
Yeah, I didn't care for the film as much either, but I mean, as far as that goes, that's the main
it's
deal.
nice. It's nice that the fans got what they wanted. And then that's what I said in my review, is that I think ultimately the people that wanted it will get what they want, and that's great, because that is great.
I mean, it was better than Joss Cut, but
yeah. Well, that's a pretty low bar, but
I know.
just real quick in here, Roger. If you're just going to say everyone's a hater for giving their opinion, I mean, you literally have the mental capacity of a 12-year-old. So just remember, it really reflects badly on you. You just look like a tit. There's been a good few comments from this individual with anyone saying anything remotely critical. You are a hater, ladies and gents. So, just watch yourself. Roger might think you're a hater. All right. Just got to say that there, just for a bit of a PSA. So let's get into it, because this is literally a Q&A article, which I always find these to be massively interesting. And I think they are interesting, to be fair.
And why did that, before we begin the Q&A, before actually, I have a ton of stuff that I have to do, so I regret that I won't be able to be here today. But Tom is here to represent Midnight's Edge, aren't you?
Sure.
You can type that any better. Oh my god.
I'll be
and then you can look forward to some more Snyder Cut, I'm sure, on Toxic Femininity later tonight as well. So
well, thanks for joining for whatever little time you could, Andre, my dude.
Andre goes, how is it you don't have any time, Tom?
Yeah, you'd be booking him in everywhere. Oh dear. And we'll have to drop in another stream sometime, Andre, my dude. Get you on for a little bit longer. All right.
Yeah. Well, next Monday, for instance.
Yeah. Well. Yeah. All right. Peace out, dude. Speak to you soon.
All right. Take care.
Take care. Right. Okay. So Andres Fernandez for 50 ARS. I have no idea what that is. Says, I rented the Snyder Cut through Google Play. Also, I saw YouTube has it. Does it have it for renting now? Wow. We need to see that figures I paid to make a statement. Wow. Okay. That's interesting.
Where he's at, probably. I know they were trying to make it available as many places as they could in some way, shape, or form. So that's probable.
Yeah. Okay. Well, it is interesting. Got Michael Von Doom says the Snyder Cut sucked. Your hate makes me stronger. Look, hey, super chats. I'm going to read them out. If you guys are more than welcome to your opinion. Opinions are something that we all have, and we don't necessarily share them all. But that's the beauty of life, isn't it? Having opinions and being able to discuss them. So yeah, I mean, you are welcome to your opinion, Michael, my dude. And also, thank you so much for supporting the channel. Really do appreciate that. So let's get into the Q&A part, because this is like that slam dunk.
Sure.
And it is brutal, some of this stuff. It really is. Why did you decide to release the Snyder Cut of Justice League? We wanted to give Zack the opportunity to complete his vision in a 4-hour movie, which is impossible to do in theaters. We're happy that we have HBO Max to let the rope out, as it were, and allow the fans to see all 4 hours of Zack's vision. But that's really deceptive anyway, because it's not actually all his vision. Because we already know, right? You'll remember this, Tom, is that some of the comments made by Snyder previous to it coming out was, yep, they've let me do anything I want. I've got full creative control. It's just not canon. And that was how I could do it. And then it comes out and he's like, oh, yeah, they didn't let me do this. They didn't let me do this. They didn't let me have a Green Lantern, blah, 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 blah. And it's like, right, so how is it actually the Snyder Cut then? Is it actually your vision, mate?
Well, not only that, we also know that this is the full assembly cut, not what they would have initially let him release, even if it was.
Yeah. So it's not is it actually the Snyder Cut? Can you call it the Snyder Cut at this point?
Well, I mean, I guess it is.
Well, I mean, it is and it isn't it? Like, I mean, there was 100% stipulation.
There is an argument to be made for all those people that are getting a lot of shit right now for saying that the Snyder Cut never existed, because at one time it technically didn't.
This is you and me, Tom. We said this many times.
I know. But I've always clarified they have confirmed it, and we've said it a million times over. If and only if the certain stars align, which would mean a complete change of regime at Warner Brothers, or at least ownership in this case, and enough pressure from the said new ownership and enough other people's fees wouldn't be hurt. And what happened in the process of this? Joss Whedon had pretty much been canceled, so it was real easy not to worry about his fees in the process of this. So yeah, all the stars lined up, and this happened. But that big but asterisk, as we were saying, and as I pointed out many, many times over, the movie was never finished. Yeah, they saw that early assembly cut, they panicked, and then, as Zack said, he didn't have the strength to fight, and I don't blame him. And so they brought in Joss Whedon, and Joss's stipulation was get it done by this date and rewrite it, basically. And I mean, a portion of the film is still technically the same, and the overall arc of the story is still the same. Yeah, but I get it. It's a totally different cut of the film. It's a totally, different tone and all that kind of stuff. So, I mean, again, is it a great film overall? I gave it a 5 out of 10. But I mean, I think I gave the original like a 4 out of 10. So that's the thing. It's like a step above the original. And it's the best Snyder film in the DC universe. That's the best I can give it.
Yeah. Yeah, and that, it's not exactly a glowing review, is it? But again, you are welcome to your opinion, and so are you guys.
Right, and with full disclosure, I was never a big fan of what Snyder had done prior to this either, so and I've never made that a secret, so.
Yeah, it's good to be transparent at the very least. K-Beers for $20. God, thank you so much, ladies and gents. Your support tonight has been pretty insane, to be fair. I'll give Snyder credit. The movie was actually pretty solid, something we have not seen from Star Wars since the early 2000s. I'd love to pick your brains a little bit more. What did you think was solid about it? That's what I would be curious to know.
Or him.
KB is saying that it was a pretty solid movie, because for me, it really it was very protracted. Again, I don't want this to become a review for me saying because I have done it. Like I've said it before. I've got a whole review on it, and if you want my actual thoughts on it, it's there in a review. I don't want to sit here and just give my thoughts on it tonight. This stream is very much about the title of the stream, what happens now. But I am curious as to how you thought it was pretty solid, mainly because to me it was quite protracted, and as a result of that, it suffered pace-wise quite drastically, in fact. Thoughts on that, Tom? Did you find it protracted, pacing, or what?
Yeah, that's kind of why I give it a 5 out of 10. And I mean, maybe I'd be, excuse me, a little bit more honest if I say maybe a 5.5, because I marginally will, what do you call it? I'll marginally give it a thumbs up, I guess, or for whatever. I won't say it's a winner, but I would recommend it to somebody if I knew they would like it, or I had a good idea that they would like it. But if it's somebody that I know that's probably not going to want to sit through 4 hours of this, I'm not going to recommend it to them. So it's one of those movies where it's really like, it really goes off of whether or not you're a big fan. And I get it. Y'all, there's some people are like, what the fuck, and all that kind of stuff. But hey, I liked half the movie I didn't like. To me, that's a 5 out of 10. I mean, what can I say?
Yeah, I think that's fair enough, to be fair. Michael Von Doom says, on a serious note, last was his joke. I rather liked some of the character beats, but Zack needs to be teamed up with better writers. I agree. I think he would need someone to tone him down a little bit. That's my sort of thoughts on that. Doom Dragon Goblin Slayer Trinity. I love your name. Says, I heard that HBO Max crashed in certain places when the Snyder Cut released and had a few problems for a few hours, so it looks like it's doing well. Yeah, I did hear that, but that's not necessarily just because it was very popular either. We know that they have had some problems, and you never know. It could be a case of Warner Media trying to sabotage it in some way.
Could have been.
You just don't know.
An asterisk to that, though, I did find out the few places it did. I can't remember the exact places, but it was a couple of countries outside the U.S. that had very small servers, it seemed like. Because the one, they only had like a couple hundred subscribers on it that were out, and a few other ones too. Like in the U.S., there was a few people that were saying they were having issues.
Yeah.
But I hadn't heard anything about any mass outages because of it yet, which I'm sure if that was the case, AT&T would have been blasting that from the rooftops.
Yeah. True. Someone actually asked, how much do you rate Endgame out of 10? See, this seems to be the common thing actually, because this seems to be...
I don't like comparing the DC and Marvel stuff.
Well, no, but my point is that this is a very common jump that people make, is I don't like Justice League or this movie, so therefore I'm a Marvel fanboy. I don't like the Marvel movies, guys. Like I couldn't get through WandaVision. I stopped reviewing it. I'm not a Marvel fanboy. I'm very, very open about this. I don't give a shit. And I actually didn't like Endgame. I thought it was an epic waste of a build-up, quite frankly. So anyway, let's get through some more of these super chats, because we've got a few just jumped in here. It says, John Davies, is the Snyder Cut going to turn into Blade Runner and have 7 different versions? No, definitely not, dude. It just won't now. There's no possibility of that happening. K-Biz sent another $10, but I think your comment may have disappeared there, man. I will try and find it again. Papa Cronus, epic name. Honestly, it was just another alternate cut of just another DCEU movie. Another cut that will go nowhere. However, it was okay. I'm wondering what other DCEU movie will get an alternate cut.
Well,
yeah. Well, as per this article, not much, to be fair.
Right.
But as per your thoughts here, saying that it's just another cut, I would actually agree with that. Like I said in my review, and again, I don't want this to become a review, but when there's a super chat that pertains to it, I'll happily give my thoughts, or at least quickly. I said in my review, I don't understand why they did some of the reshoots, because they were reshooting some of the scenes that were fundamentally the same narrative.
Pretty much, yeah.
Reshot. It was very odd. Like Henry Cavill Superman in like, what was that? Like, it was the same basic stuff. Why did they reshoot it?
Because so he was weird. In a black suit, maybe. Like, that's what I don't get.
But he wasn't in those fields when he went home. They reshot that stuff, and they didn't. It's
all the same.
Yeah,
I thought it was the same stuff. To be honest, I didn't even realize it was reshoot.
No, because his lip was not janky.
Oh, that's right. You're right.
So I was looking at the lip for the giveaway.
There's a whole like
wrong.
No, you're right. I didn't even think of that. But like that's the whole thing with the whole Joss Whedon version compared to this one, because Joss didn't even get director on that, and there's a whole thing on. I mean, I think we kind of got the answer now, but back then it was the whole debate on, are they going to give it to Zack just as kind of like a, honorary thing and all that kind of stuff. And it's like, doesn't even sound like he wants it. But then they said, they're giving it to Zack. And I'm like, okay, well, usually the way the guild works, and again, they can make exceptions. And I think this was one of those cases, supposedly, until now, I'm not so sure. But like, because, the most famous one being the Richard Donner, and then they switched to Richard Lester in Superman 2. And he actually had to film more scenes just so he could get director credit, because a director has to film at least, I believe it's either 50 or 55% of the film to get credit. So at that point, that's where I kept saying, well, for them to even contemplate giving Joss Whedon credit means he had to have shot a lot. But then looking at this movie compared to the other one, it doesn't feel like as much as there, because the movie's so much longer. But if you really look at that middle third of the film, that's a lot of what's in the other Justice League.
Yeah.
I mean, it's pretty close, and it seems like it's shot on a lot of the same sets or a lot of the same, maybe alternate cuts of some, but some of the stuff is exactly the same. Like a lot of that Superman, when he comes back scene and he's fighting the Justice League, minus the reshoots from Joss that were goofy, is almost identical. It's a little bit different paced. And then Mahler, even the YouTuber Mahler, posted a clip of the final scene where we're zooming in on Lex. And the only difference is the pacing in the cuts. Like the Whedon cut just cuts to it quicker. That's really all it is. Otherwise, it's the same exact stuff.
Yeah. Which is interesting, really. It's interesting that that's... Yeah. Oh, anyway. Neat Switch says, first Snyder movie where I thought, too long. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I'll give you that. For me, it was too long. Felicity Poubelle, I think. Epic name. There may be a lot of hypnosis. People were desperate for hypnosis. People were desperate for a Ritz cracker, and once the taste of that is washed away, people will realize it's sad. There might be some buyer's remorse here. There might be, but I don't want to slate anyone that likes it. I don't want to imply.
I was laughing at the Eddie Murphy reference. Sorry.
Oh, I didn't even get that, to be fair. But yeah, no, that is good. I don't want to imply anyone's gonna, think it's
that wasn't a regular cracker. That was a Ritz. That was a Ritz. And after a while, you just realize, hey, I just got regular old crackers.
Ritz crackers are normal over here. We get them all the time.
Yeah, you know.
Doom Dragon Goblin Slayer Trinity says, for me, it had better character development for everyone, and that flash moment at the end. Damn. Also, everyone at the end battle was essential. Yeah, I guess. I mean, look, for me,
cool point.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't like the character development was pointless for a lot of these people though, because they didn't have character arcs. So
yeah, and then you got a lot of characters that get introduced with zero.
Yeah, exactly. So like to me, it was mismatched with that. But again, ladies and gents, if you want to do the super chats, you want to join the conversation, please do. We're going to dive back into the article now briefly.
It's a very debatable film, that's for sure.
Yeah, 100%. So they straight up ask, they say, what are your plans going forward for DC? We've got an incredible group of creators, television series creators, Max series creators, feature film creators, who are basically broadening the base of the talent that we work with on DC, because we're so excited about the potential to build out the DC multiverse. It's one of the reasons why I was hired almost 2 years ago. The before and after was it was a very siloed organization with no connectivity between the businesses. DC was being developed, but in a kind of monolithic way in each division. My mantra coming in was to make it bigger and broader, and we really want to surprise and delight the fans with more connective tissue across the various media and platforms. I'm talking movies, HBO Max, television, and our games division.
Interesting.
That's just corporate spin, to be honest, isn't it? There's not much
to a point. What I also see here is this Snyderverse thing just came in and snafu'd all our plans, which is what's part of the contention. And what they're saying here is, look, if you look at it and read it from a little bit, step back and read it. They want to do what Disney's doing with the Marvel thing over there. Is basically what I see them saying here, and that is give Kevin Feige the reins, and he did. Now everything is connected. As before, it was just the movies were their thing, and then everything else could be affected by the movies, but then none of that affected the movies. Remember, like the Shield show was on its own and all that kind of stuff, and now they're pretty much non-canon altogether. I think that's kind of what their plan was, and I can understand where she's coming from, where they would want to do a bit more of a uniformed multiverse across many platforms. But
it's business, isn't it then?
Exactly. And the other part is that sounds just like J.J. Abrams, but
that's what I've always thought. This sounds like the bad robot stuff. Luke Fremlin says, do you guys see Snyder's Batman, Superman, and so on in HBO Max series, as they need content to compete with other streaming services? No, I don't. I don't think Henry Cavill will. I think he's too busy for a series, actually. He has quite a few commitments now, so I don't think he will. Batman, maybe, but then I don't think that they'll want to do that unless they know that they're getting the other stuff. So,
the problem with Superman is they already have Lois and Superman, and it's doing well. So I don't think
and that's going to HBO Max as well.
Yeah, so I don't think they're going to compete with that much anyway.
Yeah. Max Zorin says, I wish Snyder would rein himself in with the slow motion shots. Yeah, there was a lot of that. I enjoyed the movie, but it could have been a little less dragged out. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I mean, like some of the pacing is slowed down in camera. like literally in camera. So yeah.
And I took into consideration that if this was like a theatrical cut, or at least something to where they had to give him some kind of constraint, that a 3-hour cut might have been a bit more palatable. It might have, the pacing might have been better. Because I think one of the biggest problems, and this is something, and not to go off the rails too far, but what I keep hearing people say is they'll get through like the first hour and then they'll quit.
Well, yeah. I mean,
that sounds like a pacing issue there. Like,
but not a whole lot of
story. That's my point. Is like, and that's what I said to Andre. I said either it was a contractual thing or a guild thing that they couldn't do this as the series like they were planning on doing. That, or they watched this.
Kick it out. I think
well, that could have been part of it too, because I said my other theory was they watched this and they realized everybody's going to check out after the first 2 episodes. We need to just drop this all at once.
Yeah, no, that's quite right. That could have been it as well, actually. Real quick, Zafu Many, learn to spell. That's not how you spell peasant.
What the hell?
Yeah. No, this is my stream, so fuck off.
Does your mom know you're on her phone?
Yeah. Does your mom know you're using the internet, my boy? Please.
Sorry,
the English teacher definitely doesn't know. Anyway, that's for sure. So anyway, major question here. The Snyder Cut came out because of a fan campaign online. Do you feel like you need to strike a balance between being responsive to fans and charting your own course as a company? How responsive do you believe DC should be? Now, that's a really interesting question. That's a very interesting question. And the answer is we're always going to listen to our fans, but we are in service of the broadest fan base, and we owe them an integrated, holistic strategy. Now, look, that is actually just business speak.
Yes,
that is saying, hey, look, we will we want to cater to the majority, right? Yeah. We don't see them as the majority, which is what I said earlier. Is that I don't think, going back to Ellie's question about whether this could split the fan base so much that it hurts Warner Brothers, bottom line. I don't think that will happen, and I think that this is a fine statement to make. It's not what people want to hear, but it does make sense. She's a CEO. It's business. We are the shepherds of the franchise, and hopefully when the fans see what we've got in store, they'll know that DC is in good hands across many different platforms with many different creators. They're really hammering home this many different platforms business, aren't they? Like, God damn. Well, that's non-stop with this, many different platforms thing. We want different voices in the mix. For certain fans that want singular voices, they may be disappointed. So that is a direct jab at Snyder and the Snyder fans, isn't it? Oh, we lost Tom. I think we've lost Tom.
I'm here. I was just taking care of something real quick.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know if it's a slight. Well, the first part is definitely a slight at.
We want different voices in the mix for certain fans that want singular.
Exactly.
Voices.
Yeah,
they may be disappointed. I mean, that is absolutely, isn't it? Absolutely.
But I think it's in the same interview that she kind of refers to the toxic fan base too, isn't it?
Well, we'll. I'm not sure if that's this one. I think it is.
I think so, because that's where they're pulling it from. That I know.
But she continues and says, but we would ask them to be patient and see what we've got in store, because perhaps the newer voices in the mix will have just as compelling stories to tell. On balance, you of course want to listen to your fans, but we do want to stay true to our vision and our mission for DC and build that out. Look, that's just corporate business speak.
That, and it's kind of confirming what we've been saying about there being 2 different kind of pulling polarity visions at Warner and AT&T, and that's if the Snyder cut were to prove to be this huge hit, which it's kind of the ball's in AT&T's court right now to prove it one way or another.
True. So Dragon Goblin Slayer Trinity says Joss version Soups shows up and everyone is like cool, and one man's it. Steppenwolf dies and sets up Darkseid invading. Also Flash pushing a truck. There are elements which are absolutely better. Like I don't disagree. The Emperor of Mankind. Oh, hell me, long live me. I like the Snyder Cut. More depth. I've been watching the chat now for a few minutes, and there's not been one praise the Emperor or by his holy light. Is this heretic HQ? No. Sorry, the God Emperor. No, sorry. To apologize. So anyway, she continues anyway. We have weekly meetings with our key execs in every division. Last August, I was made head of studios and networks, and I now have all the creative groups underneath me. So now around that table, it's not just Warner Brothers Film, Warner Brothers Television, and Warner Brothers Games, but it includes HBO and HBO Max, and the Turner Networks, Adult Swim, and the Kids and Family Networks. We're involving all of the people in our plans going forward, and that means the media is going to be more connected, sometimes in subtle ways and sometimes in more overt ways, like opposite the Suicide Squad, we're spinning out Peacemaker with James Gunn and John Cena, passionately developing that for HBO Max. It's my job to make sure we super serve our fans across all demos and fan bases. Well, this is interesting, to be fair, because it shows that she has HBO Max underneath her.
Well, yeah, I mean, it is their future. I mean, I'm sure they can't deny that, but something like the Snyder Cut really does put egg on a lot of big people in Warner. Toby Emmerich, to say one.
Yeah.
A lot of the people that got shit canned before between the whole process of it all. I mean, and the performance of things like Birds of Prey have not helped. Shazam didn't really blow the doors off anything. Wonder Woman, the response has probably been just as bad or worse than Birds of Prey. Because I'd say worse, because Wonder Woman 84 hasn't even been able to muster any kind of support like Birds of Prey did. If you get what I haven't noticed any support. Like, I haven't even seen any stands for it out there just going like, oh no, Wonder Woman 84 was amazing. You're just bad and you don't understand. You hate women. It's just like there's just like everybody's just like, yeah, that was a bad movie. And you got to remember that's the way we're headed with her, and it just sounds like almost like she's in charge of this shit more than Hamada is.
Yeah, well, it is very much that way, isn't it? Which is an interesting sort of narrative to look at. Like, is this now her? Have they taken some of the responsibility away?
That's what I'm wondering.
I mean, you never know. You never know. But they don't strike me as people that would do that, to be fair.
But then again, she could just be, since she's like the I think, what is she, the president of entertainment, or whatever she is. So she'd probably be above Hamada anyway, and so probably just going off of whatever he's telling her.
Yeah, true.
Could very well be.
Yeah, true. Now we get to the toxic part. There's also been a toxic side to the fandom, with reports that critics and some of your executives have received threats for not endorsing the Snyder Cut, or for being perceived as standing in the way of its release. What's your reaction to that behavior? Right, interesting question. And the answer is, we're not tolerating any of that. That behavior is reprehensible, no matter what franchise you're talking about or what business you're talking about. It's completely unacceptable. I'm very disappointed in the fans that have chosen to go to that negative place with regard to DC. With regard to some of our executives, it's just disappointing because we want this to be a safe place to be. Well, I mean, one, I haven't heard that there's been like death threats or anything like that. Actual serious threats. Like, where did this come from? Saying that you want it to be a safe place to be. I mean, it is safe, isn't it, mate? Like, what do you want about? Seriously?
If anything, the only people I've heard coming after anybody at DC or Warner over anything has been the Ray Fisher shit.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's a problem they created on their own, really, if you look at it.
Yeah. Yeah, true. It's just weird, we want this to be a safe place to be. I mean, it is safe. Like, come on, you're not actually in fear of your lives at all. Let's get real here.
Yeah, I'd like to see the receipts on that one. Sorry.
Yeah. We want DC to be a fandom that feels safe and inclusive. We want people to be able to speak up for the things they love, but we don't want it to be a culture of cancelling things that any small faction isn't happy with. We're not about that. We're about positivity and celebration.
So here's the counter narrative right there.
Yeah. Yep. The campaign for Release the Snyder Cut has moved into a new phase. It's now Restore the Snyderverse. What's your reaction to this new campaign? And this is what I said anyway. I said that, like, I don't think people are going to be happy. I think that they will just keep going, because it goes back to that whole phrase, give them an inch and they'll take a mile, right? Like, the Snyder fans now believe that there is a certain amount of power that they have. And in fairness, I agree that they would think like that. It's a natural reaction to have. But this was the ultimate end to that, isn't it? Is that people get the wrong end of the stick and believe that they have that power, and then Warner Brothers would clamp down on it, and it will only occur now moving forwards if, say, AT&T step in, which I think is going to be unlikely.
You know, it'd be too bad they didn't see the same kind of vitriol from other sides of things. But, you know, anyway, I'm not even
come on now. You're asking too much there.
I know I am, right?
So this attitude anyway, like this is what I alluded to in my review, is like, I think, you know, people will be happy. And at the end of the day, I think, you know, the only sad part of this is that they'll be disappointed that it won't continue. And this to me seems to confirm that, to be fair, that it will not be continuing, because the response is, I appreciate that they love Zack's work and we're very thankful for his many contributions to DC. We're just so happy that he could bring his cut of the Justice League to life, because that wasn't in the plan until about a year ago. With that comes the completion of his trilogy. Very final. We're very happy we've done this, but we're very excited about the plans we have for all of our multi-dimensional DC characters that are being developed right now. So very much, that is one door closing. We're opening another door moving forward.
Oh yeah, this was strategically timed for this reason right here.
Yeah, 100%. Like, it doesn't come out like, you know, half a week or whatever it is after it's been released, and, you know, that's not. Well, there's no sort of ulterior motive there. Like, seriously, come on. We've got another super chat keeping the lights on. George Barrett here for €5 says, Frida, Martha, H-Man. No, Barrett. I join, especially with Matt, Tom. Must see Snyder Justice League, I guess. Till then, more power, my dudes. Well, thank you so much, man. And thank you so much for your contributions, as always, dude. Always appreciate you.
I hope you enjoy it. I really do. I don't hope that anybody dislikes it as much as I did, because trust me, the last thing I want anybody to do is waste 4 hours of their life.
Yeah, exactly. Same here. And, you know, we can have our opinion whilst also hoping that other people enjoy it, you know.
Well, that's usually the case. It's not like, and that, well, of course, that goes one of the misconceptions of this whole toxic fandom business is, I don't know anybody in either the Phantom Menace or any of these other fandoms that goes around, as far as our side of things, it seems like, and telling other people, oh, you have to like this or dislike this said thing, or you are not this. Yeah. I mean, you see that on the other side of things. I will say that. I mean, we see that big time on the other side of things, but I don't want to get into that stuff too much.
Yeah. And so they just straight up asked, will there be more of these director's cuts? Will we see David Ayer's cut of the Suicide Squad? We won't be developing David Ayer's cut. Just straight off. Nope, we're not doing that.
Did you say Ayer's response to that?
No, what was that?
He said, why? And a little cry emoji.
I hope that's sarcasm.
I don't know, but that's what he posted.
That is very funny.
He's been behind it though, trying to get it to happen. And let's be clear, the Ayer cut would be a lot.
I didn't think he was really trying.
He was pushing it for a little bit back there, right after the Snyder cut. But he did say, you know, one thing at a time.
Yeah.
And then the thing is, though, for them to release the Ayer cut would be a lot easier than doing a Snyder cut, because that pretty much exists already.
Yeah. No, yeah, absolutely. That it won't be that difficult, but. Again, I think that this is them choosing to go away from the old guard and pushing it to the new guard. I think that they've made that very, very, very clear here, that is what they're trying to do.
Yes, exactly. And they don't want any of this other nonsense. Just get used to Birds of Prey. Get all used to Wonder Woman 84. That's what's coming, kids.
Yeah.
Batman with Pattinson.
Yeah.
All that stuff.
Yeah. So, moving forward, as they say, looking at the DC slate, there seems to be an emphasis on creating opportunities for diverse creators and characters. You've got a Latino superhero movie with Blue Beetle, Sasha Cal becoming the first Latinx. Fuck Latinx. That is a horrendous term. And most bloody Latin Americans hate that as well. Actress to portray Supergirl, and Ta-Nehisi Coates writing a Superman movie. Is there a concerted effort to take the brand in a more inclusive direction? Okay.
Yeah.
Great. It's super important to me, and it's in line with what we want to do. Look, inclusion, you're fine. Like, who cares? Just hire the best people for the job, quite frankly, which they don't have a good track record of doing anyway. So, yeah, I mean, whatever. Just hire the best people for the job. If that's these individuals, great. I don't think Ta-Nehisi Coates is, but okay, whatever. We want to branch out and let creators interpret parts of the universe in unique and special ways. Ta-Nehisi working on Superman is incredibly exciting. I can't wait to see what he comes up with. And director Andy Muschietti on The Flash. or Patty Jenkins. Matt Reeves has just finished filming The Batman Against the Odds of COVID. We're so excited to finish that movie and have people see it because Matt's take on Batman is different than other takes. Even familiar characters have lots of possibilities. What do you think to that? What do you see?
Well, I mean, as far as the first part of your question, what do I think of it? Some of it, most of it, I could really care less about. I mean, I haven't really been too unvocal that I didn't really care for the trailer all that much for the new Batman movie. I've seen enough of this stuff already. If it really is as different as they're claiming it is, maybe I'll enjoy it. But
yeah,
I mean, I'm not going to hold my breath. As far as the rest, Flashpoint, I'm kind of interested just because to see Michael Keaton back as Batman.
I can't.
Outside of
I
that,
don't want to watch a whole bloody Ezra Miller.
Yeah, that's my problem is I don't like Ezra Miller. The only like I was just saying, the only reason I'd be watching it is to see Ben Affleck and Michael Keaton on screen as Batman.
True.
Outside of that, I could care less about anything they've got on their stable of things coming up.
Yeah.
So but really, what all this is kind of confirming a lot of the shit we've all been reporting, and that is what I heard early on from one of my sources was, and I know people hate it when we say that, but it's becoming true. Like we're seeing it here. And that was, they're going to pick and choose from what they had in the Snyderverse of things that worked, AKA Aquaman and Wonder Woman. And I guess they think the Flash worked evidently. I don't fucking know why, but, and then they're going to go forward with that and the Suicide Squad characters that they thought worked. Other than that, because the new Suicide Squad is like a total reboot. And that was what caused a lot of confusion with Wonder Woman 84 early on, is a lot of the early test screenings from what I heard coming out of there is they were confused that it was either, is this a reboot or is this a sequel? So I think that's where another reason. It was a soft reboot. And same thing with Aquaman. And obviously Shazam is almost a complete soft reboot because the only connection it does have is that minor joke kind of cameo from Superman in the one scene Batman. In the bedroom in the Batman and stuff like that. So I mean, even that can be pretty generic, to a point.
Yeah, I guess so. Real quick, Dan Hidro seems to be such an alpha, as he likes to say here. Real alpha dudes here. Middle-aged men crying about movie. We're not. We're just talking about an article. But
I don't remember.
You're clearly such an alpha. You are unable to contextualize that because you're just so alpha bro. Alpha bros unite, and he just repeats again. Such an alpha move to keep repeating yourself.
I'm not sure what his motivation is. So
it's just clearly a little bitch, really. I guess such an alpha little bitch. There's a couple from him actually. I'll probably just end up blocking him because I can't have that much alphaness near me. I'm just such a little pussy. Nitswitch for €10 says unsafe space here. You're getting assaulted. Get used to it. To quote the great band Ninjin Isu. Okay. Is there any loafer here? Is there any crybaby here? Brilliant. I mean, look, I could not quote that, but epic. Good. Thank you. Right. So here we go. Look, you talked about breaking down silos in the company. What does that mean for DC? Pretty open-ended, isn't it? Pretty open-ended. And the answer is creators want to have franchises that are larger than life. But oftentimes you start working with a company and that company has discrete divisions. So you become a film creator, you become a television creator, and never the twain shall meet. My role is to pull people towards a vision that can make the whole more than the sum of the parts. One of the key aspects of that is having a long-range plan. These movies and TV series can take 2+ years to make. So if you're not planning out and bringing other people into the plan, that further accentuates the silos. It's having the plan, and then it's having the strategy where all the various businesses work in harmony to create the plan. My God, that's a lot of just.
She's basically saying here that the Snyder cut doesn't fit with what they want to do.
Well, it's also very
much the Snyderverse, I should say.
But it's also very much
vision,
but it's also, I would say, very much a hey, look, we're trying to get, I guess, sort of like a Kevin Feige overview. We're trying to operate more like Marvel. That's what it says to me.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. The same thing as before, kind of the same thing. But at the same time, it's kind of an excuse to say, look, we don't want to stick to this one vision over here. We want to do this over here and it be across all these boards.
Yeah. Yeah. Also, ladies and gents, someone has just quoted the amount of people who have liked the video. We've got 369 likes. Lol at 69. But could you please like the video, ladies and gents? You're here. You're clearly enjoying it. So please do hit that thumbs up button. This will be live afterwards. And if it gets a good amount of likes, then that helps it. Obviously, when it's live afterwards, people will get notified and stuff. So would appreciate that. But thank you so much just in advance and ahead of time if you do like it. So here we go. How did viewers and fans see the org charts when it came to DC? Org charts? What? Organization chart? What is that?
I guess.
Yeah. They saw this character in movies and it had nothing to do with the character in TV. Okay. Creating that more unified vision, Marvel, which is coming together with Peacemaker spinning off of the Suicide Squad. And you'll see a lot more of that going forward. You'll all see original things in businesses that don't relate. And that's okay too. We're in charge of that decision making about whether to connect dots or not. Again, yeah. It sort of lays down the law more and more, doesn't it? But it's, again, still very much saying, hey, look, we are moving away from this and we have autonomy. We have the control there.
Yep.
Neat Switch says, seriously, you should all listen to the song. It's amazing. Ninjen Isu song, Nama Hage. No, not my band. Japanese metal of the finest.
Oh, okay.
I will try and check it out.
I was thinking it was something Norwegian, considering, but I guess
yeah,
not.
That's what I thought.
I was like, we need Andre in here to help us translate this shit.
Yeah. Well, God damn, Andre, you left.
Yeah, it'd be like, that is the band that. No, just
Sam for £2 says the Shiter cut was more lost to my life than lockdown. That is a brutal review.
Yeah, that is
brutal, good sir. But you are welcome to your opinion. You absolutely are. We don't want to be predictable. We want fans to spot Easter eggs at the end of the movie that relate to a movie or show coming up, or a show.
They got Marvel fever.
Yeah, it is. I mean, that is, isn't it? It's literally, hey, Christ, we see what they're doing on Disney Plus. Let's try and copy. That's what it comes across like. We could harken back to something that was said in the Flash movie, or there could be a cameo appearance of one of the actors from one movie into a current show. I wonder what they do with Superman and Lois then. I wonder what they do with Superman and Lois for that. Whether because they are.
Well, isn't Flashpoint supposed to do what that big CW crossover kind of did in a lower scale? So that will kind of make everything canon. So we'll see.
Well, yeah, this will be interesting. Whether Superman and Lois being of a higher quality is indicative. Well, when we see it anyway, is indicative of them trying to actually push it, into being one big connected universe, and they actually, bring in one of the higher quality shows, or because they paired up, they had the Flash in Flash, like that's one of the shows which was started off okay, but then obviously went downhill. So it'll be interesting to see whether they connect the dots on a currently good show. But now we get on to some interesting bits. Ray Fisher. What's your opinion on Ray Fisher, Tom? Because I don't think we spoken about this. I don't think we have.
I don't think we have together, but we may have similar opinions on them.
Okay.
I think, if I remember why, I think I've caught at least one or two of your videos, if not. I don't believe him. I don't. I hate saying this because I hate sticking up for Joss Whedon, because I'll say it up front. I think he's a piece of shit, but I don't think he's a racist, and nor do I.
One of the things that they use as one of the things he said as the reason why they were racist was because they lightened the skin. Now I've gone back and looked at both the Snyder Cut and Justice League. They lightened the whole film.
Both light, yeah.
They lightened the whole bloody film, and his skin looks the same. Like, it just looks the same. I don't see that much of a difference. I don't really see the blatant racism he was talking about skin tone. And that was one of the things he categorically said, this is what they've done.
Right.
I didn't see that. Guys in the chat, you may think differently. You may have seen it, but I didn't personally.
It could have just been the way they were lighting it too.
Well, there's so many ways that
Right.
someone's skin could change.
Right.
Like color
I don't
grading's a
think.
thing.
I
For
think
God's
that's
sake.
a very big
It's too broad. It's too
Yeah.
broad.
Okay.
And
Then you got the other
undefinable, really.
parts where he's talking about, Joss forced him to say "booyah."
Oh
Well,
no!
booyah is a
Forced to say the
catchphrase of the
catchphrase.
character. And it got to a point where, to jump ahead to recently, where even I think Fisher himself was starting to question it because he was starting to ask fans if they thought it was racist or not. And it's like, no, booyah is actually, if my best I can trace it back, actually traced back more to surfer lingo. And if the only real black thing I could tie it to was there was a commentator on ESPN or whatever that said it for years. And that's the only thing I could really tie it to that was anything racially, So again,
I've not tied it to anything racist.
no,
but,
so okay, so
know.
strike two there, and then the other thing is he claimed he was berated by Joss Whedon and threatened his job. Okay, well let's put it like this: if you're under the gun, and I hate him making me make excuses for Joss Whedon, but if you're under the gun and you're supposed to get this big movie done by November, and you've got a little brat who's never been in a movie before, who won't say booyah, and he's holding up a production, and you know how this goes, Mr. H, and you've done enough productions to probably get where I'm going with this. When you've got people dealing with lights, cameras, special effects, on-set effects, all that kind of crap, you've got thousands of dollars going out the window every second that this kid is just sitting there throwing a hissy fit instead of just doing the job that he was asked to do.
Yeah, I honestly, there's the behind the scenes of Bjorn and Frida, and you'll see in that, like, I run a very tight ship. Like, I run a very, very tight
but you know what I mean, right?
No, but that's what I mean. Like, you can't have people.
So I can totally see Joss Whedon taking him behind, which is the proper thing to do, mind you. Take him into his office and say, "Look, you're going to get out there and you're going to do what I say, or I will fucking end your career."
Yeah.
I can totally believe that. And honestly, I'll take Joss's side on this one because I'll tell you right now,
there's going to be some annoyed people with you.
They can be annoyed, but I'll tell you, if you've dealt with actors and you're a director and you've got an actor who's pissing you off, and especially somebody who's not a Ben Affleck,
just to tell everyone in the chat, like, guys, honestly, like, I've made some films. If you're new here or you're just drifting in, like, I've made some films. They're not massive or anything like that. But when you're a certain amount of days into shooting, there can be some actors that suddenly change. They suddenly change their attitude, and they do that because they are well aware you're fucked. You have to keep them. And they start just messing around. And it doesn't, whether it's happened to me or whether I know it's happened to other major indie sort of level of productions and things like that on features, it happens. And as a director, as someone who's producing a film or whatever, you really do have to get on it. You have to get on it.
Can I finish my point, because I'm already being called a racist because I didn't get to finish?
Oh, sorry.
No, you're fine. But I can understand where Enrique is coming from, unless he's just being a total dick. But no, unless you're an actor who's of higher caliber, and it doesn't mean your skin color.
Right.
Okay. I'm talking about if Lawrence Fishburne was there, that'd be a totally different situation if he stopped the production, right? But yes, I know I've listened to some of your videos because I stole Cryborg from you, and I even gave you credit for it. I know that now. But no, that's what you got, a guy who's been plucked off of Broadway, and he's acting like he's the star of the show. Yeah. Now, granted, when Zack Snyder was there, he was probably a different director. He's much more receptive. And as we saw and this is my ending, my point here, as we saw in the Snyder cut, his character was a much bigger part and had a much bigger role in this movie, and was promised his own solo film until Zack was gone. Then his character got significantly reduced, and he was no longer getting a solo film.
Yeah.
So I can see where he got annoyed. But at the same time, that's where you got to bite your lip and say, look, it has nothing to do with race, and it has everything to do with the fact that I was only on Broadway before this, and this is my first big movie, technically second if you count BBS, but that was really a cameo. Let's be real. This is my first big movie, and he's actually the centerpiece of the film. He needs to just kind of bite the bullet, take it this time, show up for the Flash movie, hope he can blow everybody away so that he does get his solo movie. Instead, he fucked that all up. And not only did he fuck that up, he probably fucked his career at this point. Because unlike the John Boyega situation, which is not even remotely the same, because we have the proof in the pudding there on that one.
Clear as day.
It's clear as day. This is a bit different situation. This is a bunch of he said, she said shit. And the only receipts we've gotten from Ray Fisher is one of the investigators basically saying, we believe you believe what you're saying, Ray. Which is not saying that he's telling the truth. It's just saying that he believes he's telling the truth.
Yep.
It's not producing any receipts, though.
That's your truth situation. It's like, come on now, behave.
Exactly. So that's my point there. I don't think Ray Fisher was stuck in any more in a situation other than he's an actor who probably should have had a better manager or agent, or manager would be their job, to keep his mouth shut and be like, look, this is the way the business works sometimes, man. It has nothing to do with the color of your skin.
Yeah. So real quick, got some super chats. Just diving in. Sam Ezra Miller, Flash looks like Alan Partridge. Lol. Scroll back down. Neat Switch says Ray Fisher is a crybaby. He was spoiled by Snyder and couldn't handle the Sweden. Yeah. I'm way behind on this. I literally, as you were talking, I've had to stay right up on those super chats. So I'm way behind.
We got Uche in the chat now. He just says, "Rah, Mr. H."
Well, I'm sure I'm sure he's had as much as I've.
And I probably got him riled up there a little bit too. Nothing but love for my buddy Uche. So,
all right. So
I love you too, Mr. H. So I know you guys had I saw that.
It's fine.
I liked how it ended. I will say
all
that.
Right. It's all good. But let's see what Variety asked Anne and what she responded with, because this stuff's really interesting. And there's obviously a Ray Fisher spokesperson commented as well. So the comment, again, they're very to the point on this, which I like, because I think I like the fact that they've been ballsy and just very to the point, right? So Ray Fisher has accused Warner Brothers executives of racially biased behavior and of trying to impede an investigation into alleged misconduct on the set of Justice League. Did your investigation corroborate any of his claims of racism on the part of your employees? I like that. I like that it's to the point. I like that it's to the point. But I also like the fact that this confirms it's done. It's over. It's done. Nothing else is happening. Even the tone of how Variety approaches it, Ray Fisher has accused Warner Brothers executives, blah, blah, blah. Did your investigation corroborate any of these claims? I.e., it's done. What's the findings? And I like that. It's good. It's nice. It's good. That's done. A lot of people can finally, hopefully, just see that and move on, hopefully. To which you've replied, no. Our investigator, Judge Catherine Forrest, remember, this is the individual that Ray actually praised and used the audio clipping of. So, because a lot of people seem to forget that, but he did actually do that, and was like, "Yeah, I've got the receipts. Look at this audio clipping." And yet, this individual then came out and said, "Hey, look, no, that's nonsense, Ray. Calm down," about something else. So Catherine Forrest has issued statements specifically about DC Films president Walter Hamada, saying that there's no evidence of interference by Walter in the investigation. She said that the cuts made in the Joss Whedon version of Justice League were not racially motivated. We took it very seriously, so we hired one of the top investigators out there and gave her a tremendous amount of leeway. I mean, there's no other sort of way you can look at it now. Like, whether you agree or disagree with how it's handled and how they're framing it here, it's done, isn't it? I mean, that's how I see it in there. I mean, we know it's been done in their eyes for a long time. But Ray Fisher, Ray Fisher has previously stated that because of a non-disclosure agreement, he can't share specifics about the abusive behavior he endured on the set of Justice League. That's not true at all.
No.
Is there an NDA that would prevent him from publicly sharing?
Anybody who's seen an NDA before knows that's not fucking true.
That is not how NDAs work.
That's not what an NDA is for at all.
To which she just replied, "Not that I know of, no." Editor's note.
Which I can't believe. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
It's so weird. Spokesperson Fisher responded to Variety's request for comment with the following statement: "Mr. Fisher is no longer under NDA and will comment further when appropriate to do so." That's convenient, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, here's the funny thing: I can't believe she didn't just say what we said. That's not what an NDA is for. Any abusive or criminal activity does not fall under an NDA.
Yeah,
at all.
That's like anything that is illegal voids a legal contract. Like, for
exactly.
I mean, that's just basic.
Well, not only that, that's not what an NDA is for to begin with. Let's be real. Like, it's to conserve trade secrets and story secrets and stuff like that. Not
don't talk about this. Don't tell anyone what we've been doing on set, because we can't reveal the story until marketing window.
It made the gray area fall under, okay, somebody got in an argument with the director, as long as it didn't cross the line into abuse or somebody doing or saying something they probably shouldn't be, which, again, true, Ray Fisher is bringing that point up, but that would be considered something that would be over that line, and they would not consider that in an NDA.
It's such a weird thing to say. So dumb.
Especially they got an internal investigator on it. Sorry.
What exactly? And then we get this, right? So Walter Hamada has been on the receiving end of a lot of fan criticism. What was his involvement in the production of Justice League? Walter had nothing to do with Justice League. He was not running DC Films in 2017 when Justice League was completed and released. He wasn't put in charge of DC Films until the following year. About a year ago, Walter, Toby Emmerich, and me, Bob Greenblatt, Kevin Riley, and Sarah Aubrey sat around the table with Zack and greenlit the Snyder Cut. That cut includes Ray Fisher's entire story as Cyborg, which is something that he had been disappointed that had been cut from the Justice League movie 3 years ago. Perhaps we've lost the plot a little bit, which is that Toby and Walter were part of the green lighting that allowed Zack's vision to come to life, which includes sharing the full story about Ray's character. There really was nothing that Walter did against Ray. In fact, he offered him, goddamn fucking adverts, he offered him a role in the Flash movie. Walter was promoted recently. I'm fully supportive of Toby and Walter and their visions. I truly believe they are great executives. Walter happens to be a person of color, so he knows what that feels like. He's bringing in diverse voices at an accelerated pace more than anyone has in the past. And this is the complex thing, isn't it? Because a lot of people that blindly, and I will say blindly because we have actually had no evidence yet, those individuals that blindly support Ray Fisher, and make no mistake, ladies and gentlemen, and I'm not saying it's absolutely unequivocally only because of that, but make no mistake that some of it would be because he's black. All right, because this was all launched during the BLM stuff, and undoubtedly there will be people that will be supporting him because he's claiming racially motivated prejudice and things like that. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure that out. I'm not saying all of them would, but definitely some people would. And they're in a bit of a quandary here because Hamada is not exactly Western white, is he? So it's interesting now that people are then making point of him saying, well, he's actually a person of color, technically. It's like, so what are you talking about? Which makes it interesting, I think. It makes I always like it's like watching wind up toys and to put them on the floor and stepping back and going, let's see how this plays out. Let's see how this goes. But it's interesting here saying that Walter was actually one of the ones which offered Ray the job on Flash, which I'm sure when Ray then turned around and was like, I'm never working with Walter again, if he's on to do with anything, he was like, all right, well, fuck you then, mate. I'll take that job back on the Flash. Tom? Is he alive?
I don't know if will he come back? Do you think he'll come back?
No, Ray's been, so Ray made that public statement saying, I will not be involved.
I was going to say, yeah,
DC film that Walter's involved in, and then they confirmed that Walter was signing on for another year or however many years.
Well, yeah, they're not getting rid of Walter.
Yeah, and so then and then it was announced that he would not be in the Flash. And I did a video on it saying, well, you literally cancelled yourself, Ray, because you made the announcement saying, like, you gave DC an ultimatum saying, choose me or Walter. And they were like, well, we'll choose Walter then. So obviously you were going to be booted off. Like, also, funnily, if it's Walter making the decision, Walter gave you that job in the first place, and then you just gave him a bitch slap. He's going to be pretty annoyed at you for that. What do you expect?
Because for some reason, I don't know why this is, everybody, and I'm glad she said it in this interview, even though it's been said a million times, and certain factions of the fans just don't seem to get it. Hamada had zero.
Yeah, it was Kevin Sujihara, wasn't it? He was involved.
Nothing to do with any of the shit that transpired.
Yeah.
Nothing. Now, if you're blaming him for not letting the Snyder cut happen, he didn't really have anything to do with it one way or another. I mean, he could have, but there was no way Warner Brothers was going to put the money into it and do what they were going to do. It wasn't going to happen. And AT&T was that one thing that had to happen for the Snyder cut to be.
Yeah.
And blaming Hamada for that is just fucking dumb. And as far as Ray Fisher's accusations go, I'm not saying, okay, I will say this, as far as that goes, he has a basis to stand on if he feels like Hamada is trying to protect certain individuals, but everybody that Ray wanted to go after has pretty much either been blacklisted or shoved down to the lowest of lows, right?
Yeah.
Joss Whedon's been canceled already, so it's like trying to put a guy on trial for murder when he's already on death row, right? Like, I mean, fucking Jeff Johns has been reduced back down to a comic book writer and a television writer. And I don't even know what the hell. I think Berg moved over some other non-related shit. So, I mean, he's not, I don't know what he's working on anymore, but it ain't been nothing I've heard about. So it can't be anything that, stupendous. So those are your main guys right there that you need to deal with, right? And Sujihara's gone.
Yeah,
already. He's okay, 4 guys. Gone. Yeah, so there you go. Like, what does Ray expect to happen here? That was my question this whole time too. And I mean, I know it's a rhetorical question at this point, but I mean, really, you're right. I mean, he signed his own death warrant here by saying, I'm not going to work with Hamada. But it's like, dude. And then at that time, they weren't going to fire Hamada. They're definitely not going to fire Hamada anytime now.
Of course not. I mean, and they're making it blatantly clear in all of this stuff. Like, no, you get nothing to do with it. What do you want about?
Exactly, yeah.
So anyway, they say you talk about enlisting a broad range of voices when it comes to charting the future of DC. Is there one person calling the shots? Oh, so this is we've got our Kevin Feige moment. The connective tissue in the middle is Jim Lee, who oversees DC Comics. Jim lives and breathes the canon of DC, and he works with all the divisions to make sure the storylines are true to the canon. He helps them come up with the ideas for new storylines. Jim is very much in the middle of everything, but the group together helps spur on new ideas. But there's not one person calling the shots because I want all the voices in the room to offer their expertise and knowledge of their formats. So no sort of overseer, but Jim Lee basically is. Good. Is
that what you're saying here?
Well, yes and no. I mean, look, the connective tissue is Jim Lee, who basically oversees and takes questions on storylines and makes sure the storylines are true to canon. That's about it, really.
To this point, I'm trying.
Okay.
I know who he is, but I'm trying to remember what he's done up to this point. I mean, I know he's a comic book guy. Yeah, I know that part.
Yeah, he's not been front and center in anything.
Yeah, I know. I think
this, I would say, in my eyes anyway, is the first time they have said Jim Lee is the guy that does this. I don't think I've ever seen them say this before.
No.
I could be wrong, but I don't think so.
I don't think so. I mean, I know who he is, like I said, but I don't think I've heard his name come up before.
No, I don't think they've ever said that before. I think this.
No, well, if that's the case, so are they insinuating he's the guy? Then basically, they're Kevin Feige right now.
It sounds like it.
Huh?
Sounds like it.
Yeah, because I'm looking at the news and nothing.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see how that then affects stuff moving forwards. I mean, look, if that's part to blame why Superman and Lois is actually okay quality, hey, I'm all in for that because Superman and Lois is pretty decent at this point in time.
What do you guys out there think of Jim Lee? I see Sketch doesn't like that idea.
Yeah, Mind and Body says I like Jim Lee, but he doesn't know DC like that. Yeah. Jim Lee's an artist and chef of chief.
He's an artist. He's not a writer, even.
So he is.
Ooh.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of people are not majorly hot on it by the sounds of it.
I didn't think so, because that's why, a lot of people have been like, well, why don't you just Paul Dini and all these guys who've worked on the animated side of things. And now, granted, some of the shit they've done isn't great, but
I love the DC. The DC animated
they seem to have the most consistency.
Well, they were so good.
Yeah, as I was saying, up to this point, up to a few, they've had pretty good consistency.
Yeah,
I don't know why they just didn't let them in there. And what's his name? Bruce Timm. And Paul Dini and shit. I'd rather have them in there than Jim Lee.
Yeah.
No, Jim Lee is in no way the Stan Lee of DC.
No.
He's too, what's the word I'm looking for? Malleable.
He's mainly an artist. So
yeah, I was gonna say he's more like a guy you put in there and you got somebody behind him telling him what to do.
Yeah. Anyway, look, so they round out this saying, so as superheroes pop up in movies, on television, streaming shows, and games, how do you make sure there's not too much of a good thing? Couldn't that lead to oversaturation? Well, look, DC, you're in no danger of that happening. All right? No danger of too much of a good thing occurring. Let's be honest, DC. With their track record, are they having a fucking laugh? Like, that must have been a sarcastic comment from Variety. That must have been. One of the reasons I'm excited about our strategy going forward is it is multi-dimensional. We're not just serving the same fan base with the same creative vision. We're trying to expand it. Not every fan has to love every piece of what we're doing, but we're putting out more tentacles to be able to reach people with different stories on different platforms. So there isn't fatigue. It's not just the same cadence. We're going to mix things up. We'll have a slate of DC movies, but it will be richer and more multi-dimensional with a broader array of characters that will help reduce the fatigue. Because you'll see a whole story about the Flash, and then you'll see sequels like Aquaman 2, or new takes on Superman or Shazam, which plays to a family audience. There would be fatigue if we stayed on a more singular path. Snyder is what they're saying here. But because we're broadening, we'll have much more potential to grow the franchise across various demos and various types of fans. I mean, that is 100%.
Which also kind of goes along with what I heard, and that was they don't mind a little bit of connection, but they don't want everything to be tied to each other. They want to kind of reboot everything in kind of its own little thing.
Yeah. And real quick, John Davies dropped in for £5, says the Snyder cut is not the cut he would have done in 17. He added bits after seeing the backlash to 2017 changing.
Yeah.
Motivation and adding back stuff.
There is that too.
I could see some of that. Yeah.
I don't know how much he actually shot this time around, but yeah, I think a lot of that money was to finish effects and stuff.
Yeah, I'll agree with that. I will agree with that. And some of those effects were fucking...
yeah, some of them are garbage and some of them are great.
What did you think of Bloody Martian Manhunter?
Garbage. TV level garbage. But you could kind of tell what Weta had worked on before and they got to restore. And you can kind of tell it was kind of done for this movie now. Yeah. And it's like worlds apart. Because like Steppenwolf was obviously the OG version from Weta or whatever, or Weta, however you pronounce it.
Yeah.
And then you could tell like maybe like that Wonder Woman scene, for instance. There's a couple other ones I'm trying to like the definitely the Martian Manhunter. The scene with Lex in the water was like TV level, like worse than TV. Like that's like my kid could probably do a better job than that, where it looks like he's floating in the water. Oh gosh. Then there was that scene where Cyborg's walking away and it looks like trash. But like a lot of the Steppenwolf stuff looked great. Darkseid looked okay. I mean, I don't know about the design, but I mean, as far as the actual animation and all that kind of stuff, not bad.
Well, his suit animation was pretty decent, to be fair.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So, like, I mean, and those parts, like, I'm willing to bet was stuff that Weta had done before, or they got to finish off or whatever. Was it Weta that did? I don't think it was Weta. They had worked on it before, and I heard something about they had gotten to go back and restore because I guess they had some of the effects still. Because again, I reiterated before, it was not complete. They had some stuff done.
Yeah,
but like then they changed course, 2/3 of the way through or a little bit more. So yeah, like the Martian Manhunter stuff looked the worst probably comparatively to the rest. But other than that, the rest of it didn't look too shit. Not as nearly as bad as Wonder Woman 84, which was almost across the board atrocious. Like I'd like to know where they put the money for that.
Yeah,
that CGI was just horrid.
Well, it's because a lot of people are like, oh, some of the effects and blah blah blah. I just want to show you this because goddamn, like I've really like fucking Martian Manhunter. Look at this.
I love the character, but yeah.
It's TV versus
the
Snyder cut.
I think I even said the Supergirl one looked better.
Well, he looks incredibly angry. Like,
yeah,
there's one angry man. Like, calm down, mate. Like, fucking.
Well, see, Martian Manhunter is one. I'm not sure why you don't just go with mostly prosthetics anyway.
You really should. You really, I mean, you can easy and
exactly
well, easier. But I also thought, like, I mean, yeah, I don't know. The writer of this bad dialogue when they literally said, "Oh yeah, people call me Martian Manhunter." No one fucking calls you Martian Manhunter, mate. Shut the fuck up. No one calls you Martian Manhunter. Literally no one. You've been sat doing nothing all these years. No one calls you Martian.
Okay, so the guy who was calling me a racist is now calling me an old fart. That's funny.
Where's that?
He's an ageist.
Where's that? I don't even see that.
Oh, you don't see it. It's Enrique. It's 5:56. Well, my end. Enrique Aguilar. A little ways up, maybe now.
Yeah. I'd have to.
He was the one who called me a racist earlier. Yeah.
You just hate. You really are an old fart. Well, I mean, I disagree, Enrique. Like, I mean, you know, I think like we're all welcome to our opinions, aren't we? At the end of the day, and the thing is, like, we are literally just discussing our opinions, and we're not going to sit here and say you shouldn't have your opinion either. But we're not also going to say, well, the people that just like the movie are just fucking brown nosing Snyder and just like shit. They're just like any old shit. That's not what we're going to say. You have your reasons for liking it, just as we have our reasons for disliking it, and that's the beauty of film. That's the reason why film is subjective, and no one can sit there and say you're wrong, unless you're talking about objective, you know, truths like technical aspects. Then you know, then we can all be.
Which I could get in. We were getting into some of those with CGI, but
yeah, I mean, well, yeah, exactly. CGI wise, objectively, the CGI wasn't as good as it should have been for a movie that now, across both of them, has had somewhere in the region of $700 million spent on it. I mean, the CGI is not good for that price tag. I'm not sure how you can dispute that.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, pretty indisputable, but you know, hey, whatever, I guess. I could be wrong, but I mean, I'm not. So, there was one scene which stuck out to me, and I don't know if you remember this. So when towards the end, when they're storming the sort of silo, you know, the sort of nuke tower thing, and Aquaman jumps in and knocks out. He impales two parademons with his trident, and he goes right up to them, and he's interacting with fully CGI things, and he pulls the trident out, and he's not connected to either of them at that point. It was some bad marking right there. He doesn't look at them when he pulls the trident out. It doesn't. I mean, it's difficult. Again, ladies and gents, it is difficult when you have live action interacting with CGI. It's not easy, but that one was. There's some very noticeable, you know, bad stuff in this.
Which is why I don't understand that they don't try a little more often to do a bit more physical. And I get it. If it's something that's easier to do in digital, do it. Fine. You know, if it's something that's, you know, technically wise, much easier to do in CGI, go for it.
Yeah.
But there's so often than not, and especially movies like this, and Marvel is just as guilty of this as everybody else, and probably even Star Wars to this. Which, well, actually, Star Wars is kind of leaning more towards the physical effects. But, a great example is when J.J. Abrams drug a green screen to the desert. But I digress. Just the idea that they rely so heavily on CGI so often, it just bothers me. It should be a tool and not the means to deliver.
Yeah, I think it always should be blended anyway.
Exactly, yeah. Because a great example is I see a lot of these people now going out there redoing special effects in the past and CGI, and it's like, I don't really see an improvement. In fact, most times you're ruining it. A great example is the one I've seen of Ed 209. It's like, you destroyed it. Phil Tippett put motion blur in there for a reason. Now it just looks like I'm watching that version, but I cranked up the motion smoothness on my TV is all. So it deleted those, you know, it basically counteracted the motion. I mean, that motion's in there for a reason. You know, it's to make it look like it's actually moving in real space and time. I mean, that's one of the fluid problems with CGI is it's too fluid, and it's they.
Well, you can't get the so motion blur is some motion blur is acquired because of the frame rate that you're recording.
Exactly, yeah, and it looks natural to the eye. I mean, if you wave your hand in front of your eye, you get a motion blur. It's just the way we see things.
It is exactly the reason why when you watch a film versus a sitcom, there is a complete different look. Obviously, a lot of that's color grading and things like that, and how they shot with different lenses. However, a large portion of that is because sitcoms are shot in 60 frames a second.
Yep.
Films are shot in 24 frames a second,
and in some cases they used to shoot a lot on video for television too. That's why.
Yes.
Yeah. Which is a higher frame rate. Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. So then when you add CGI to that, it's difficult to animate in 24 frames a second and to acquire the same level of motion blur that you would naturally acquire.
And that's just a minor thing on top of 100 other million things. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, but see that is a objective technical look at a movie, basically. Like, it's an objective truth, isn't it? Like, you look at something 24 frames a second, 60 frames a second. Well, one looks better than the other. That is just how it is. Neat Switch says CGI was between great and crappy, very inconsistent. Yeah, no, I'll agree with that there. Yeah, like, you can definitely see what either wasn't finished or they rushed, or the bits of the CGI that they had done specifically for this thing and the stuff which was left over. I don't know. But you are right. Like, it was very inconsistent.
Yeah,
it really, really was.
And again, it could be the better stuff we saw in it. Could have been the wettest stuff I was talking about earlier too. And then the other stuff was whatever in-house they had, or they, some cheap company they had to go with for this. Who knows? Yeah.
Hosea says, my favorite part of Mr. H's review, they call me Martian Manhunter. Who calls you that? Yeah, I was so riled up by that. I was so annoyed.
And not only that, you're like, where the hell you been all this time? They could have used you, like, when Superman was getting killed.
Exactly. He's just standing around at an airbase, just going, they got some free sandwiches today. I'll just eat some of them. Why not, mate? Bloody ridiculous.
That's my biggest problem with the story wise of this movie. Like, I mean, this is probably the best of the Snyder films put together wise, but. There's just so many inconsistencies here and there, and they're little things, they're minor things, so I'm not going to gripe on too many. But even the mother boxes doesn't really work, because if you stop and think about it, it's like, okay, the reason they sent out the call is because Superman died, but Superman wasn't even there for the longest time until he showed up.
Exactly.
There's a lot of
he's been there for all of about 30 years, mate.
Yeah, right. So, there's just little things like that make you go, huh? But again, I don't want to nitpick too much, because as long as the movie just kind of keeps trucking along, you can kind of get over those kind of things. But again, this has the least amount of the issues, like the Marthas and the dark dourness of the other two films.
So,
I mean, I don't want to sound like I'm hating on it completely. I mean, it is a much better film than the other version, that's for sure.
Yeah, but I don't like that, because it's not like it's not exactly praise, is it? But yeah,
I know it doesn't sound like it, does it? But I mean, I can recommend it to people who like the first two films.
Yeah, no, I can as well. Again, I don't want to get too into my sort of personal review of it all. Like, we've kind of done all of that, but I mean, I've not spoken to Tom about this.
I haven't done a review of it proper, so.
Well, that's because no one else on your bloody crew has bothered to watch it.
I know, right? And then Cray,
you're the most busiest one, and no one else fucking watched it.
And Cray in real life is like 1 point better. LOL. Yeah, well, I mean, and you got to understand how I scale films. Like, to get a 10 out of 10 out of me is like Godfather level.
No,
like
film
Jaws level. You have to be like, there's only a few films that can reach that pantheon.
Nope. No film has a 10 out of 10 by me. No film.
By you? Well, I can understand. See, like, you're a much harsher critic than I am then, see?
No, so again, it's how you classify it, isn't it? So I say a 10 out of 10
exactly.
is the best film of all time. It can never, ever be beaten. And no film can never, ever be beaten. Like, it's because technology progresses and things like that. So there will always be films which are bettered. But that's how I do it anyway. But yeah, some people This is why I never do ratings, because however people do their ratings, you're always going to upset someone. So I just never bother with ratings anymore. I like to. Just
I know ratings suck,
and just go. There you go. You'll like it if you like this.
I see why Siskel and Ebert did the thumbs up, thumbs down thing. It's so much easier.
Yeah, I like that. That's not bad. Smoke Monster, Miss H Reviews is the best YouTube. Well, thanks so much. I'm sure many would disagree, but
you have the best icon I've seen all day.
What?
I was paying attention to the icon there. I don't know about you.
Well, right, I see that Tom's just low key, just trying to, shuffle in there. I see.
I don't know if that's really Smoke Monster or not. I'm just saying.
Well, that is the best icon all day. That I will agree with that for sure. But now we need to get to the bottom of whether that is actually
candy baby. Sorry.
Oh God, what is this stream descended into? You really are tired, Tom.
A little bit.
You really are tired. What is going on?
And I got to be on another stream in 3 hours. Not even.
God, well, that's not too late for you, though, is it? But then,
no, it's not so much late here, but I haven't really had much sleep. So yeah.
Yeah, well, true. Let me just scroll back up. Hold on. So. Yeah, I'm scrolling all over the place here. So, ratings are more minded. Well, I just don't see the point. Like, I always think like it's good to find a reviewer that you like, see what they say about something, and then go from there. I think that's the best way to.
That's a good point.
I do it anyway.
And there's some people who will rate on just like their enjoyment of a film, their personal feelings on a film, as to where I kind of look at it as a mixture of a lot of different things.
Yeah.
Technical wise, story wise, even if I'm not a fan of something, I can still say like, oh, Gone with the Wind is technically and historically a very important film. It's a very well put together film. Do I want to sit through it again? Not likely. But it's just not for me, but I still have to give it an honest rating. So, I would definitely recommend it to just about anybody, and put it up there.
Tom, what are people saying about you've made a song?
Yeah,
I need to review. What is this?
Oh God, I don't know about you reviewing it. But...
No, sorry, Sketch Therapy. Will I review Tom's song? It's very sexy.
It's on iTunes. Otherwise, you can watch the.
You've written a sexy song, Tom.
I did. It's available on iTunes. Otherwise, I got a lyric video right now up on Midnight's Edge After Dark.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, really?
I've been working on a little album. Yeah. I've been writing music for years. Yeah. It's kind of it's a fun song. Oh God, he's looking for it now.
Fucking am. Right, what we got here then?
Oh, good Lord.
Oh, see, all right, what's this then? Oh. Am I going to get copyright claims? Are you going to copyright claim me?
No, I wouldn't copyright claim you.
You sure about that?
I'm sure about that.
Brett the Illustrator, love seeing your discussion with Vuce. Keep on keeping it real. Well, thank you so much.
Yeah.
So, ladies and gents, Tom, do you mind introducing I Look Good on You?
Well, it was just it's, as I said, I was kind of working on an album idea, and this song idea just kind of came to me one night, and this song just kind of came together, and I thought this is the one that's going to kick it off. You're not even subscribed to Midnight's Edge After Dark. Look at that.
Oh, fucking hell, God.
I didn't say you had to. It just
God, you're fucking guilt tripping me live.
No.
Yeah.
No, you better unsubscribe now.
I fucking no. Right, okay.
Go for it.
This is actually, is that playing?
No, you didn't add the sound.
I did. No, I did actually.
Oh, I'm not hearing it. Do you have it turned up, I guess, then?
Oh, I should do. Let me have a look.
Lo-Fi Samurai says, this song is better than Justice League.
Oh, dear.
I apologize, Bob Sav. Sketch brought it up.
Oh, well, there we go. This is better.
Oh, you got to click the little thing there.
Yeah, sorry. Right, here we go. Let's listen to the song.
Hips quaking, booty shaking, let's get this fucker started. High class, big brass, pretty little lions in a row. No cash, so crass, wrap it up in a bow. I'm so heavy, my head hangs low. When you gonna tell me what you don't know? The whole world's gone crazy, but that's okay now. Don't worry, baby, I won't fade away. Get down on your knees today, but I don't want you to pray. No. Everything I wear looks like shit on me, but baby, I look good on you. Maybe if I knew just what to say, then maybe you'd know what to do. Now. First glance, last chance, lust at first sight. No finance, no romance, who will win the fight? It's a tug of war with the heart all night. But if we get a happy ending, we'll be alright. No promises, no demands, you're in command. But I can change the rules just like you can. If you don't like it, then there's a door. Will that be credit, cash, check, or money order? Everything I wear looks like shit on me, but baby, I look good on you. Maybe if I knew just what to say, then maybe you'd know what to do. Now. White trash, all flash, big player with no game. Hot ass, all sass, no hint of shame. I don't care who your mommy and your daddy are. Dressing for sex and success will get you far. Short skirt, tight shirt, you look so good in bed. High heels, making deals, a legend in your own head. Let me be the dirty secret that's going around. Keep your head up even when you're going down. Going down. Everything I wear looks like shit on me, but baby, I look good on you. Maybe if I knew just what to say, then maybe you'd know what to do. Now. And this is where the extended part comes in.
Well, that was bloody fantastic. Oh my god. Oh, it's quite catchy. I don't hate it at all.
Yeah, I know I'm not I lost my voice years ago. I actually used to be a professionally trained singer and musician and shit like that. But I've been working on this little album idea, and this one just came out of me out of the blue, and it's one of those songs you write in 10 seconds kind of thing. It just wrote itself. It was just once I had that catchphrase in my head, I'm like, okay, that's a song. I don't know about that, Jacob, but thank you so much for the donation. I appreciate that.
So
on Mr. BH's behalf.
So yeah, I'm really surprised.
It's not meant to be taken real seriously or anything,
Yeah, no, still, it's good fun. I enjoy it, to be fair. Chris Raposo, first as now Tom making music. This world never ceases to amaze me. Great work, Tom.
Honestly,
go.
I was just say, as putting out that song was kind of ironic because I started working on this stuff before that ever happened. But now people are, it's like whatever. I'm competing with Az. It's all good.
I didn't even. Well, I don't watch. I actively don't watch any channels like mine. I'm only subscribed to car and cooking channels, so I didn't know Az had even made a song. So that's
well, he didn't really make it. What somebody did was took one of his rants and turned it into a song.
Oh my god!
And it actually showed up on the UK iTunes chart.
What?
Yeah, I'm not joking at all. No, last I looked, it was like shot up to like 73. I don't know if it's gotten any higher since then, but just considering the fact of the matter, it's just a remix of his rant is hilarious. It's actually a pretty good song, though.
Gold. Fucking hell. So you're making a whole album, are you?
Yeah. Like, well, the whole kind of concept is like old school music from the 80s and 90s, and that song kind of fit in there. So yeah, that was just kind of
yeah. That is fucking gold.
I hope so. It's on iTunes right now for 99 cents. So
there you go, ladies and gents. You can purchase it.
You can.
What? Send me the link in the private channel.
Oh, absolutely. 2 seconds here.
Is it only on iTunes? Is that
for now? But it
iTunes? Is that what?
Yeah, it will be on other places. It just takes more time for them to approve it or whatever. It'll eventually be on like Spotify and all that stuff, but hopefully it just takes time. Right. iTunes is just the quickest one.
Okay, so ladies and gents, if you want to buy it for 99 cents, please do. There you go. Link in the chat right now. Always encourage people to support independent artists of any level. I mean, you guys have helped me do my film, so yeah, absolutely go and check out the song if you like it and download it. Why not? Even if it's just for a good bit of fun. It's it's a good bit of fun, really.
Well, Chris, that's kind of what the point of it is, to be a little earworm. I know it's not the greatest song in the world, but it's one of those songs it's supposed to just kind of stick with you.
Jacob Hill says Dylan himself couldn't have written better lyrics.
He probably could have sang better than me, though.
Pixel Pete says Mr. H, music and salt and vinegar Pringles. What more could you ask for? Well, you get some of that rum, my dude. Sketch Therapy Tom, better than WAP. Yeah, that fucking song, Christ alive. Just
is awful. That the one that's taken over the world?
Wet ass pussy is what it is, isn't it?
Yeah.
By Carly B, just talking about basically, I'm a slut. Yeah, I'm a slut. Like, okay, epic. Good for you, love. Mick K, fuck giving Tom a Grammy, give the man a Tony Award and an Oscar. That's better than half the shit I've heard this year.
Well, thank you guys for you guys who are giving me all the kind words. I appreciate it. Thank you. I didn't expect it to roll over that well.
Got a good community here. We always have good people dropping on these streams, actually, to be fair. So, yeah.
Rum. Keep her away from the rum. It's probably meant Amber. Oops.
I think that about wraps it up, really. What happens that so here we go. Here's let's round this out properly, right? What happens now the Snyder Cut is released? Tom, what are your thoughts? Round it out. And I'll give mine.
Unless AT&T comes out with some kind of notice that, hold up, wait a minute, these numbers are off the charts. I think we're just stuck dealing with whatever they had intended for us going forward. Yep, some of it's going to be all right. Some of it's going to be meh, BOP level stuff like Birds of Prey. I mean, other than that, who knows? I mean, I'm hoping for the best, preparing for the worst.
Yes. So yeah, I mean, look, my honest opinion is that they've moved too far in another direction now. I don't think that they will be looking to pursue the Snyderverse unless, like you say, there's some sort of interjection from AT&T. They cut in and go, nope, you must do this. I just doubt it. I think they've moved too far in the other direction. So Yes, I think now Snyder Cut's out. I think that that's them trying to put it to bed now, and I think that the article coming out, half a week later, seems to indicate that they are just trying to put it to bed. They are very much signaling, no, we're good with this now. We're done. That article was pretty damn harsh, to be fair. Definitely trying to separate themselves. So I think that about wraps it up, ladies and gents.
Yeah.
Normally these go on a little bit longer. They have been going on for about 3 hours lately. But just subject matter and how it's kind of flowed, I think we'll round it out here. If you don't already, please do follow me over on Twitter and Instagram at Mr. Reviews. I was actually going to upload another bench video today because I did pretty well on my bench press. For anyone that is remotely interested in that, head on over to my Instagram at Mr. Reviews, the same name that's tagged on here underneath my floating avatar. Where can people find you, Tom? And obviously your epic new track.
Midnight's Edge or Midnight's Edge After Dark, which is where you can find that video you just played. Otherwise, you find me all kinds of places on Twitter and Facebook. On Twitter, I think it's at Thomas Connors Jr. Remember right? Yeah.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, because I was really confused. I was like, "The fuck is Thomas Connors Jr.?"
Yeah,
Of course. Yeah, it makes sense.
There you go.
Need Switch for €5 says to highlight the band Ninja ISO a little more. They have even a song called Colorado Space. Oh, that makes it easier for me to find actually now, to be fair. So I will give that a Google. But yeah, guys, thank you so much for dropping by. Really do appreciate you dropping in here. Again, we will be doing another live stream Wednesday and Friday. For those that don't know, Fridays are a member call-in stream. So I do live viewer call-ins, always interesting. That's towards the tail end of the stream. So yeah, thank you so much. Thank you so much for your continued support. Really do appreciate it. And thank you all for joining me this evening. Thank you to my esteemed guest and epic new singer, Tom, for joining me as well. So thank you all so much.